All right, continuing chapter 10 here. We have under listing agreements, the next section here is net listings. All you need to know for exams is they're illegal. But what is a net listing? It's one where the owner tells you how much money they want to net from the sale, and whatever amount you could get for the house over that amount, you get to keep as your commission.
Why is that illegal?
Yeah, right?
So how do you put in the MLS what the commission is?
Oh.
Well, you don't do that anymore anyway, so I
Yeah.
guess it doesn't really matter. But so that puts that away. But because it puts it's an open invite for hanky panky. Let's put it that way. You're supposed to be notifying the owner what the true value of their home is. As it is, we're trying to beat them down to reality to get them to accept that their home is not worth this much, but it's actually worth this much. And then our commission is solely based on how much we could get over the amount that they want to get in their pocket. So we'll have to try to bang them down in price and then get them to accept a lower amount. And then any amount we get over that, we get to keep as our commission. I think the motivation there would be just to mislead the owner because as it is, they're crazy with how much they want for their price home price. So as it is, if we sell it, we're not going to make anything. So now you got to get them and pound them down to accept an even lower price. Um, it's an invitation of problems. How about we just negotiate on what you're going to pay me, and then I'm going to do the job for that amount. That's why
Yeah,
it's
no, I was
illegal.
just, I guess the assumption was if the owner came to you and said, "Hey, look, man, this is what I want, right? I want to get 300 in my pocket. Anything else is yours." It's different than us
Okay,
saying,
okay, hold on. Let's take it from that point of view. Um, you got this little old lady. She bought this house long ago, and she knows property values have gone up tremendously over the years. So this little old lady down the street from me over here, uh, she knows it's worth much more than what she paid for it. So she's like, I want 150,000 for it. And you're like, okay, hell, I may buy it for that price because you know it's worth like 450. You know, it's just an opportunity for people to get taken advantage of, and all kinds of um, not putting your client's best interests first, putting your own, otherwise you don't get paid, it's too
yeah,
much of an invite for that. As a matter of fact, the Realtors Association, I think, even makes it against the rules. Even if you got a state that allows it, the Realtors, which I think only three do, um, Calif- California, Texas, and Florida, I think, but only under certain circumstances and situations. And even in those cases, the Realtors Association says you better not be taking net listings. So uh, there goes that. So net listings are illegal in New Jersey. Let's just highlight that title that they're illegal and understand that it's a type of listing where the owner says how much money they want to get, and you get to keep whatever is over that amount as your commission. Like even the last sentence here says it lends itself to fraud, and it's not in the seller's best interest, especially since most sellers are not savvy enough to know, what the true value of their home is. A lot of them think it's ridiculously high, but you get some that are thinking that it's ridiculously low. That little old lady, she was real. She was taken advantage of down the end of my block a couple of years ago by a real estate broker. I noticed the listing went up for sale, and then it was under contract right away. And I was like, something's going on here. And I looked it up and I was like, holy crap. He listed that property and had it under contract, and he's the one that bought it for like 150 grand. And at the time, it was like 350 that it was worth. And then he quickly turned around and flipped it. You know, um, it's fraud. It's fraud. So the multiple listing service, the MLS, that's we need to put listings in that MLS within 48 hours unless the owner directs us not to. And then we need to cover our butts because we're supposed to cooperate with all other brokers. And that owner tells us not to. We need to get it in writing that they advise us not to. So we need to get them to sign that waiver of broker cooperation agreement. And by entering the okay, that's it. Okay, and by sharing our listings with each other, we could usually sell a property faster and at a higher price than were we to sell it by ourselves. So this is why it's in our best interest also, or in the owner's best interest, to put it in the MLS and to share the listing with others, because more agents to bring buyers in, you could sell it quicker and at a higher price than were you not to. All right. Here's some more about a net listing I put together just in case, because people do have questions. And, you know, we already covered what we need to know for exams, but here I put together this slide with a lot more answers to it for you, okay? So the net listing is illegal. The seller tells the agent how much they want to net from the sale, and the agent can set the asking price and keep anything they get above that amount as their commission. It lends itself to fraud and it's not in the seller's best interest. Net listings are only legal in 3 states. Texas, Florida, and California are the only states where they're legal. So how do net listings work? Well, in a net listing, the seller sets a minimum amount they want to receive from their sale of their property. Anything above that amount becomes the agent's compensation. For example, if the seller wants $400,000 net, and the agent sells the home for $475,000, they get to keep $75,000 as their commission. Unlike traditional percentage-based commissions, this structure gives the agent a direct incentive to sell the property for as much as possible, but also opens up the door for possible abuse. So why they're legal in some states? Net listings are only legal in 3 states. In California, it's legal only with sophisticated or independently represented clients and full disclosure. So what do we got to do? Give them a test to make sure that they're sophisticated? You know, because that's the rule. What about Texas? It's legal, but the seller must require it and clearly be familiar with market values. So what are we going to test them? Once again, Florida, it's legal. No extra statutory conditions, but NAR members still are prohibited from using them. So these states allow net listings under strict conditions to protect sellers from exploitation. The rationale is that an informed, experienced seller can negotiate such agreements without being misled, though that's a big assumption. So why are they controversial? Well, net listings are banned in 47 states because they create a conflict of interest. The agent may prioritize their own profit over the seller's best price. Risk of undervaluing the property, the agents might persuade the sellers to accept a low net to maximize their own gain. And volatile fiduciary duty. Agents are legally bound to act in the seller's best interest, and net listings can undermine that. So even in legal states, NAR, National Association of Realtors, forbids members from using net listings or advertising them on the MLS, which limits the exposure of transparency. If you're ever considering a net listing or net listing structure or advising someone who is, it's worth asking, is the seller truly informed or just trusting the agent too much? That's where the ethical rubber meets the road. How about we just set the price? How about that? We just set the asking price and get as much as we can for the seller. So the seller gets more money in their pocket, and we get the fixed amount or percentage or a fixed dollar amount. How about that? Less chance of anything going wrong there. So sub-agency. Okay. You guys are going to be an agent, right? Your broker's an agent. So you're an agent of an agent. You're a sub-agent. So sometimes that's referred to as sub-agency, but that's not truly what sub-agency is. Sub-agency is when you got 2 agents from different brokerage firms, both representing the same client. Only one of them was hired. to represent the seller, though. So the seller has little control over what the other one does and could open them up to lawsuits and all kinds of liabilities. So it was very popular in the 90s, not so much anymore. So an agent working for brokers typically, so that's what I explained already. Subagency, on the other hand, an agent who does not represent the buyer, even though they may be working with them to buy a property. No buyer agency relationship is in place. So someone who is cooperating with the listing broker to help sell the property on behalf of the listing broker. Legally bound to represent the seller's interest, owing them fiduciary duties, not the buyers, despite working with the buyers. No conflict there, right? Subagency occurs when the real estate agent, who is not the listing agent from another brokerage, helps sell the property on behalf of the listing broker, but still represents the seller, not the buyer, yet they're working with the buyer to buy a property. Just don't sound right, does it? So how does it work? Well, a buyer walks into an open house hosted by an agent who isn't the listing agent. They're working for another agency altogether. Or that agent is cooperating with the listing broker and becomes a subagent. Or the buyer might assume that the agent is working with them, but legally the agent is working with the seller. This could lead to confusion and potential conflicts of interest. Hell, it's confusing just to explain. So why it matters, and is it considered controversial? Well, subagency has fallen out of favor in many states as it creates legal and ethical risks due to the lack of buyer representation. Buyers may unknowingly share confidential information with someone who's actually loyal to the seller. There's a legal liability. If the subagent misrepresents something, the listing broker and seller can be held responsible. And there's a conflict. It's hard to serve the seller while interacting closely with the buyer. And so the shift away from subagency. Many states have restricted or eliminated it altogether. New Jersey has not. In favor of buyer agency agreements. New Jersey has buyer agency agreements, but they have not shifted away from subagency, where agents represent the buyers directly. So this would clarify who represents whom. It reduces legal risk, and it protects buyers from unintentional disclosures. Okay, so how the value of a home is seen by the appraiser, the real estate agent, and the owner. Well, the appraiser's value is the only one that matters. A lender will not lend more money than the appraiser determined its market value to be. The property will be the collateral for the loan in the event of the buyer's default, right? So it doesn't matter what the agent really prices that or how much the seller thinks their home is worth. The only thing that really matters is the appraiser's amount, because most people are buying a house not with all cash, but they need a loan to get a house, right? So the lender doesn't know the area. They may be located somewhere else. That's why they hire an independent person who's licensed to provide an unbiased estimate or opinion of value. And that's what the appraiser does. So once again, all the MLSs we have here in New Jersey, when we get listings, we try to put the listing in the correct MLS, even though the Real Estate Commission's rules are you need to put it in an MLS within. When you get a listing, you got to put the listing in the MLS within
48 hours.
48 hours. All right. Unless the owner directs you not to, and then you got to get them to sign a waiver of broker cooperation agreement. But which MLS do you put that listing in? Well, you should put it in the MLS that's primary to the area where the property is located. It makes no sense to put a property that's located in Union County in the Cape May County MLS. Most agents that work in Union County are probably not even going to be a member of the Cape May County MLS. So they're not going to know to look there. I guess that's a way of an agent. Yeah, it's a good way for you to try to get a secret pocket listing, I guess, and follow the rules technically. But if the seller finds out about it, they can be like, why'd you put it down there? No one's going to see it down there. And it's easy to show that you're putting your own best interest and you're not actually working in their best interest there. So be careful about doing stuff like that. Don't do stuff like that. How about that? Okay.
Hey, Victor, can I ask a stupid question?
Uh, okay.
Um, why wouldn't it just make more sense to have one MLS for the state?
Whose decision is that for these private companies that
That's
there
what I
can
mean.
only be one? There can only be one.
Yes, Highlander type stuff. But I just, I guess, I mean, instead of trying to figure out, okay, where do I put this? If we had one, we just put it in for the state of Jersey. Everyone has access to it. I mean, that's why I said it was a stupid question because I know it's
Well,
owned privately and they're making
yeah.
money off of
Well,
it.
that's the thing. It'd be different if the state is running it, but and there's only one MLS. But this is actually private companies, and so one private company got a good idea to create an MLS where agents can share their commissions and they provide other tools and research stuff. And then another company can come up and say, "Hey, that's a good idea. I want a piece of that pie." And then another, and that's why we got so many MLSs. So I feel you. Um, but no, there's many MLSs. It's not a stupid question. It makes sense, but uh, they're private companies. So I mean, you could open up your own MLS if you wanted to now and start your own. Just be better than the others and want everybody so everybody may want to join it. Yeah. Now, All Jersey MLS, I just went to their stockholder meeting recently, and they're opening it up. They're actually Middlesex County MLS, okay? But they changed their name, rebranded to Central Jersey, and then they said, wait, why? If you're going to change the rebrand it to Central Jersey to get more people to join, why not just go All Jersey? And that's what they did. They changed it again, their name to All Jersey MLS, but still only the only voting members or the ones that can get stock are those that are located in Middlesex County. It just shows you it's still Middlesex County MLS. But they recently voted to open it up to all counties. So brokerages in other areas, they could join and become stockholders and voting members as well now. So they're opening it up now so they're not so restrictive. And they're working on mergers with other MLSs in the area, uh, Monmouth, Ocean, etc. And they got a tool that they just there's a company that has a tool that they just made, and they're working on it where you put the listing in one MLS and it goes into all of them, at least all of them that are participating, that they merge together.
Yeah.
So even though there's multiple different MLSs, you could enter it into All Jersey MLS, and it'll put it into all the other MLSs that you're a member of.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't got
Save
to
a lot
sit
of
there
time.
doing each
Yeah,
one, doing the entry of each one, uploading the pictures, and doing the write ups for each one. So that's a pretty wild tool that's going to be coming out this coming year.
that's great.
Mhm. Okay. You can only become a member of the MLS if your broker's a member of the MLS. Um, and most of these MLSs require that you be a realtor in good standing. So you have to be a member of the Realtors Association. I just had a lady call me yesterday. She's like, I didn't know about all these fees. I said, well, right on our website, I gave you, and usually when I teach the classes, I tell people right off the bat, it's going to take you about $1,500 to $2,000 worth of stuff to get a good start in real estate. But yeah, you got to become a member of the Realtors Organization. You're going to become members of MLSs, uh, you got to pay errors and omissions insurance. And she's like, well, the brokerage I'm going to sign up for, I think it's a franchise. She's like, it's one of the newer ones. She's like, they're charging me a fee to sign up with their brokerage. I'm like, what, like a desk fee? She's like, no, it's just a sign up fee. And I'm like, well, what does that cover? You got to ask questions. Ask them what that covers. Ask them for a list of all the fees and what those fees are for. How about that?
Mm.
Um, and I told her don't ever pay desk fees, especially as a new agent. The only time you'd pay a desk fee, that's like you paying rent for the privilege of hanging your license at a brokerage firm. You know, that brokerage firm should be privileged that you want to hang your license with them and that you're willing to make money and share it. and do the split. So
I
that's
agree.
more agents that work for the brokerage, the more money the brokerage makes too. So
Agree.
it should work to benefit both parties, not just like, hey, let me see how much more money I could get out of my agents and charge them a
Mhm.
fee, a sign up fee. Sign up fee. What the hell is that about? But apparently that's I don't want to mention the name of the franchise, but it's one of these newer brokerages that's franchises that's out there that's gaining in popularity too. I guess they're finding new ways they can rip off their own agents. All right,
Yeah.
so these are the commercial MLSs that are primarily commercial. If you recall, CoStar, LoopNet, CIMLS. CoStar bought LoopNet several years back. It's a smaller, more affordable commercial-owned MLS owned by CoStar. They're both commercial MLSs, though. CIMLS, that one's owned by the Realtors Association, so therefore its members must be licensed and members of the Realtors Association. However, CoStar and LoopNet, you don't even need to have a real estate license to be a member. You just got to be willing to pay that expensive, exorbitant fees they charge because you're paying for the access to all the data that they have available. That's why they're so expensive. And then 10X, that used to be called LoopNet Auctions or auction.com. Crexi is just a commercial marketplace. It's not an MLS. It's got tools for marketing your listings there, though. So no license is required for these commercial MLSs, except for that CIMLS. Anyone can pay for that membership. Commercial MLSs are pay for data information model, whereas the primarily residential ones are pay for access. So all these other ones here, these are primarily residential, even though you can put commercial listings in them, businesses for sale and land. They don't have some of the tools that the commercial MLSs do. So you can market them here, but you don't have like a lot of the research tools like the commercial MLSs have. That's where the difference lies. And the types of searches and data available, you could do radius searches, or you could draw funky shapes for areas that you want to do a search within those boundary lines on a map. And then you could search for all kinds of information based on demographic data, relationship status, ethnicity, household income, religion, owner occupants versus renters, based on street count, all kinds of stuff like that. All right. How do you terminate a listing? Well, we went over something similar to this in chapter 2 or 3. I think it was chapter 3. It was about how do you terminate an agency relationship. It's very similar here. Performance by the broker. Broker doesn't do nothing. Expiration of the time period stated in the agreement. We'll renew the listing. Abandonment by the broker. Revocation by the owner. However, the owner may still be liable if the property still sells while the original listing was in effect, unless you gave them an unconditional release from the contract. Cancellation by the broker, cancellation by mutual consent, bankruptcy, death, mental disease, or defect of either party, you know, insanity, Alzheimer's, dementia. Can't be in contract with somebody who's not of sound mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Destruction or condemnation of the property. Property burns down, or it's condemned through eminent domain, or for safety reasons, due to unsafe conditions. And a change in property use by outside forces. The zoning changed on it. Okay, well, you need to get a new listing for the new type of zoning. Here's from this chapter where it says that on page 167. That's what I just rattled off to you there.
Got it. Thank you.
And then this is from chapter 3, the one where it's pretty much the same stuff. I just gave my additional notes in there. Right? Remember this one from chapter 3?
Yep.
Okay, so how do we get listings? Well, all legal owners of listing property, their spouses, if required, or their authorized agents, as well as listing salespeople and brokers, should sign listing agreements. and check their IDs. Make sure they're the actual owners. How about that? Novel idea, huh? So check the IDs of all the owners and the buyers or renters or anybody really before signing any kind of contract or disclosure to make sure they are, in fact, who they claim to be. All listing agreements must include a statement acknowledging receipt by the seller that they got the CIS. What is the CIS? Well, kind of tells you.
Consumer information sheet.
It's a consumer information statement. And what is its
State
purpose? It's a
to share
disclosure
what you're
of agent.
offering.
Yeah, it's a
Yep,
disclosure of business relationships, the different ways that we could work with people.
got it.
Buyer's agent, seller's agent, disclosed dual agent, designated agent, or transaction broker.
Got it.
The seller must be given a copy of the Attorney General's memorandum, which is about the New Jersey laws against discrimination, as well as some federal laws. Okay, so what's the document we give to property owners at the time we get a listing about discrimination?
The Attorney General's memorandum.
The Attorney General's memorandum. Okay, we don't give them the LAD because the LAD is the law. You don't give people the law, you give them the document that talks about the law. So you give them that Attorney General's memorandum because the LAD is the law. You don't give people the law.
Got it.
Okay. Responsibility for disclosure. Licensees are required to investigate and disclose all material information about a property, like the true tax figure, not any lesser amount that they may be paying because they're a senior or disabled or what have you. The statement of rents and expenses, if there's any tenants there, and the terms of their lease should be disclosed. And any security deposits, who the tenants are, any necessity for a certificate of occupancy or fire certificate inspection, or disclosures for lead that may be required for the transfer of ownership, lead paint and whatnot. And if the property's in a flood zone or not, or if it ever had been flooded. We got those disclosures now in the newer seller's property condition disclosure report, which I have a link to right here, which I showed you once before, but I got a link to it here. It's right there on the shared Google Drive for you to download. And restrictive covenants or deed restrictions and any possible easements. What kinds of estates and land are based on a restriction? Ooh.
Say the question again.
What kind of estate in land is based on a restriction?
Estate in land is based on a restriction.
Okay, or here, let's start here. What is an estate in land? It describes the amount and kind of interest that one has in real property. And there's three types of freehold estates, which talk about ownership. And then there's 4 types of leasehold estates. So there are 3 types of freehold estates that talk about ownership. Which one talks about ownership forever based on a restriction? How about this? What are the 3 types of freehold estates? We have fee simple,
Fee determinable,
and a life estate.
a life estate.
So which one's based on a restriction?
Life estate?
Fee determinable.
Oh, because determined by something.
Yeah. Fee determinable, also known as a defeasible fee or conditional fee. It's based on a condition. As long as you don't violate that condition, you remain the owner. So, yeah, that's that. Okay, so a real estate broker. So we need to study those things. You will get those on exams. A real estate broker, as an agent of the seller, is responsible for the disclosure of any material information regarding the property. What is material information? any information about the physical condition of a property, not necessarily something wrong with it, um, like how many bedrooms or how many bathrooms, that could affect the buyer's decision in purchasing. How many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, architectural style, type of heating fuel that's used to heat the house. These are material information. So getting as much initial information from the seller as possible, even if asking penetrating and possibly embarrassing questions, like if they're behind on mortgage payments, in danger of foreclosure, going through divorce, things of that nature. We need to know. We need to know these things in order to service you properly, right? Don't keep things from your attorney. Don't keep things from your real estate agent. They're there to help you. So paying off the long run, saving both the principal and the agent from potential legal difficulties. The agent also should assume the responsibility of searching the public records for such pertinent information such as zoning, lot size, yearly taxes. If there's a abandoned oil tank in the ground, you could do an Oprah request in the municipality to find out all the information that the city has on the file for that particular address, right? The true tax figure should be used, disregarding any present veteran, age, or religious exemptions, or any addition for unpaid water bills in the sale of multiple. That could be very important if they're municipal water, because you don't pay the water bill and it's municipal water, you could get foreclosed on. They do a tax sale. Remember, we looked at the tax sales and we saw some people there had their property up on the tax auction block because of unpaid municipal water or sewage. Now, in the sale of multiple dwellings, the seller should be ready to present a statement of rents and expenses and all the information about the tenants there. You guys got all those notes? I could change slide.
Yes, sir.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So I got up here a list, and I'm going to hide it from you because I'm going to ask you first. Where are you going to get your business from? Where are you getting your listings from?
Where are you
Friends and
getting your listings from?
family.
No, where are you going to get your business from? Where are you going to get your listings from? Any ideas yet?
Referrals.
Have you thought about it? Tossed it around yet? Or let me just pass this exam? Or where are you at right now?
I think that's where I'm at. Just need to pass this
I
exam.
know.
I mean, I would
Friends
think
and family, social media, referrals, for sale by owner that you can talk into listing with you.
your broker.
Well, if you rely on your broker, you're going to starve. If you're relying on your broker to give you listings, hey, they may give you leads every now and then, and one may turn into a listing. But really, if you're going to rely on your broker to feed you, you're going to starve. I'm telling you, because that broker, even if they do give you a lead, they're probably giving it to other agents too to see to make sure that one of you will close on it and not waste it. Right.
Yeah.
So don't rely on that. Okay. My 2 cents to you. That's some really good advice. Don't rely on your brokers. How are you going to get some business? This is the only reason why I got this slide up here that I'm about to show you, because I want you guys to do good. I want you guys to know where to start looking, at least, give you some ideas. Your broker should give you training on this. But are they going to give you leads? Maybe, but enough for you to live on? Definitely not. So don't rely on your brokers to give you leads and then start whining about, oh, I'm going to change my brokerage firm because my broker doesn't give me any business. Well, that's your job. That's why they hire you to drum up that business. But they should teach you how to get it at least. So come on, give them some more ideas. Where are we going to get our business from?
Community events, being known, like volunteering, but making sure you keep your mouth open. Everybody's got to know you're a licensed agent.
So like shaking hands and kissing babies?
Yeah, that too.
It's not in a creepy way. Don't get arrested now.
What else?
Yeah, when you get put on a spot, it's like, yeah, I can come up with a couple maybe, but hmm. Yeah.
You could do a I heard of people. Oh, that's a lot. Let me not.
So
That's
first of
good.
all, you from yourself, prospecting, advertising, and of course your sphere of
Right.
influence. What is your sphere of influence? It's letting
Everybody.
everybody know who you know that you're in the business. Don't be a secret agent, right? Let your friends and family and coworkers let everybody know that you're a licensed real estate agent.
Yeah.
Especially your friends and family. You're going to be so pissed off the first time your relatives or your best friends buy or sell a house with someone else, and you'd be, "Why'd you do that?" Oh, I didn't know you had a license.
Mm-hmm.
Got me on that one. That's right. I didn't tell them. you know,
Mm-hmm.
don't be a secret agent. Okay. Let everyone know you're in the biz. Friends, family, co-workers, acquaintances. That's what we call our sphere of influence. You start everybody closest in the core, and then you work your way out to acquaintances, friends of friends, etc. Distant family. Social media, but obey their terms of services, because you guys would just die if they canceled your Facebook account because you started advertising in your personal page. Having your own real estate website. Yeah, generate your own leads. How about that one? But we could work up to that in time because they could be a little pricey. Um, Blogging to answer questions. People will see that you know your stuff and then start reaching out to you. Come up with a profile for yourselves on Trulia, Zillow, Homes.com, Realtor.com, and go to their blogs where people ask questions and answer them, and have your tagline there with your name, phone number, website address, contact information. So every time you make a post, it gets posted there, your tagline. Um, Cold calling, although I don't like it. Calling people out of the blue, annoying them for calls they were not expecting at their home, trying to sell them some crap they don't need, your services. Although it can work at certain times, especially if the market is increasing like crazy. Hey, did you know your home can be worth 100 grand more than it was last year? Want to sell? Where am I going to move to? You better have an answer. Mailings, postcards, letters. Do you ever get mailings from real estate agents still?
Yep.
Not often, but on occasion.
You know why?
Why?
It works. Agents wouldn't be doing it if it didn't work. I mean,
Yeah.
look at the price of postage these days, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting pretty close to $1 per stamp, right? And we send out hundreds of mailing pieces at once. And that's not counting the mailing piece, that's just the postage, right? What's the price of a first class stamp?
I don't
40
know.
cents. I don't even know what it is nowadays.
40 cents. Jeez, it's got to be like
Probably
double
more.
that. Hey,
Yeah.
Google.
You gotta
Hey
have a
Google, how
you
much
gotta
does it
have a
cost for
roll
a
of
first
forever
class stamp?
stamps.
My Google didn't even respond yet, so
As of July 13th,
78
2025,
cents.
a first class forever stamp costs 78 cents.
And that's a first class forever stamp.
dang.
78 cents.
Don't worry. I'm going to show you a resource where you could send out postage for pennies on the dollar and it'll still go out first class. Yeah, I'm going to give you some nice resources there. You're going to be like, thank you, Vic. All right. How about those list pendants targeted lists? What's a list pendants? When people fall behind on their mortgage payments, in danger of foreclosure. How about sending them a mailing? How about networking with lender asset managers for properties they already foreclosed on? They're now bank owned properties to try to become the agent who lists those properties. We call them REO properties, real estate owned by the bank. HUD, Fannie Mae, IndyMac, your local banks. Billboards or mini billboards, your business cards. Print out a lot of them and give them out like chiclets, like they're going out of style, you know? bus stop benches and public garbage recycle bin covers. You ever see those? Those it looks like small billboard signs covering those at the lights. You stop at a light, you got the bus stop or whatever. You got those little mini billboard signs. Those are actually pretty affordable. They're not that expensive, surprisingly, as comparison to the big billboards. How about the events? Market, meetup events like meetup.com. There's all kinds of events there for business people, or you could do your networking with other businesses and you all try to push each other's services. Networking, town hall meetings, business networking groups. What about church or whatever your religious group is, if you're religious at all? Your church or religious groups and their or any other social groups, and your church's newspaper or the church's bulletin board, or usually they have uh, some kind of a paper or flyer that they publish regularly, and they sell you spots on them. I mean, you could get a business card size slot for like 10 or $20. I mean, they're not much. And then people who go to the same church as you, they practice, they have the same beliefs, they may be more trusting of you, want to do business with people of their own congregation, right? Let them know you're in the biz. Hobby friends. Do you golf, play pool, bowling, sports buddies, book clubs, barber shop, whatever it is that you do? Let people know you're in a business. For me, I like to play pool. I go to a lot. I play in bar leagues, so I'm going from one bar to the next, and I'm meeting many, many, many people, and I let them know that I am involved in real estate. As a matter of fact, I also I'm a member. I just started a motorcycle riders club at the Moose. I started one in the American Legion, my local American Legion too. I started one now at the Moose, and trying to help them fundraise that organization. I said, hey, I got a real estate brokerage. I just pitched this to them the other day. We could put it out in all of your advertisements and emails, and not just in New Jersey and other states too, that anybody who looks to buy or sell real estate, um, if they go through my brokerage, because it could be in a different state too, even one that I don't work in, I could send it as a referral. Whatever it is that my commission is, I will donate 25% of it to the Moose. That's like a
So
referral
that's
fee that you
brilliant.
pay out to another agent, right?
So that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Are there
Well, thank
limitations
you.
on what kind of organization? Are there limitations on to what kind of organizations you can do that with?
Well, I mean, you could donate money to whoever you want.
True.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right. You're totally
you're,
right.
you're not paying them a commission. You're making a donation.
Totally true. That's brilliant. Oh my
You
God.
know, so that's basically what I'm doing is I offer to make a donation, and if you guys are not familiar with Moose, they have Moose Heart, Moose Haven. It's basically an organization that they have properties where they take in foster children. So they
Oh,
actually raise kids, and they supply them with homes and all that stuff, and the money goes towards that.
huh.
Uh, the American Legion I work with, the American Legion I'm a member of. It's all for all kinds of veteran causes and such. We've did rides together for Tunnels to Towers, for like our wounded warriors and police and firemen who have maybe been killed or severely disabled. Helps their families get by. You know, those are the organizations police really tend to get behind. Like when we try to get police escorts for those, they're like, yeah, no, uh, no problem. We'll show up in full force to support that, because that goes to our fallen compadres, or those ones who get really hurt. It helps support their families. So they could put time into it as well.
So
So
how
those are
do
just,
you
yeah,
how do you
just some
do you
ideas.
like just announce it one time? Do they have you as like their friend in real
Well,
estate?
in
Like
those
how do you
things,
make sure?
in those things with the Moose, the motorcycle events that I do with the Moose
Uh-huh.
and the American Legion, we also put together motorcycle rides. And it's like we charge a fee for the ride, and then that money goes towards the donation to the organization. But as far as your real estate stuff, you try to get be a sponsor of it, and if you use our services, we'll make a bigger donation. More than a $20 donation that you do for going on a motorcycle ride. Each of those riders. Usually, when you see those large groups of motorcycle riders going out on rides like that are police escorted and whatnot, those aren't just a bunch of gangsters. These are people that are going out there and they're paying money, and they're usually doing it for a good cause. I know people get pissed off because they're blocking up traffic and I got to wait a couple of minutes for them to pass by, but these are people that are actually usually raising money for good causes. A lot of times they're causes for children, and uh, that's pretty good. So what I just did here is, in addition to that, I'm making a donation of the commission, of the commission that I make. Like if a real estate agent sends me a referral, I'd have to pay them at least a 25% referral fee. So why not donate it to the charity? You know, if they're
Right.
going to give me business, what the hell? Why not? And you can maybe build up even more business by doing that. So I'm just sharing with you that one. I don't even have that one on here because that's something new that I'm doing. The Let's see. So diner placemats and back to school book cover sponsorships, those things don't work well. If you want to do it just to give them some money, they'll probably overcharge you for that crap too, and it's not going to get you anywhere. Maybe your name on somebody's backpack or book cover, but you're not going to make any money. Those diner placemats, they're very expensive, and they usually don't pay back from my experiences. Uh, Promotional materials, whether you get t-shirts or magnetic business cards or the drink koozies or frisbees that are branded, stress balls, hats, pens, t-shirts, things of that nature. Those things are a good way to get the word out, and they could be a fun way to get the word out, especially at like uh, you got downtown events in your town, some kinds of celebrations or whatever it is. You could get the word out about your company there. I went as far as making like I spent a lot of money on a mascot. I had a mascot made up for my brokerage, and had like one of those Disney costumes made. That was upwards of $10,000 I spent to get that costume made, and then I get one of the agents, or get the agents to take turns, and I've done it too, wearing the costume. But those costumes get pretty hot, so I went as far as installing fans inside of them to cool you off on the hot days. Uh, so just ways and people love it. They go and they take their picture with it. So that's a good way to get the word out with that. Not saying you guys do that. That's something more the brokerage owner should be doing. But I got a mascot. That's what I do. My mascot is Selly. He's basically a real estate sign with a big smile on his face and these giant sunglasses and big clown shoe feet. you know, and people love getting their picture taken with it. And it's branded. It has the company's name and phone number and website on it. So good thing. Okay. Shopping carts, branded shopping bags or sports bags. These are good things, especially now when, you know, plastic's illegal. No
So
straws, no
tote bag.
shopping bags, no
Okay.
nothing.
That's a good one.
Media. Uh, Television can be very expensive, but local cable TV can be very surprisingly affordable. So you can make commercials up and get it on local cable channels, even during certain programs if you prefer, on certain channels in certain areas. Cable companies have that kind of fine control over their commercials. They could put them before an audience of so many, or just in certain geographic areas, and really narrow it down too, on certain channels during certain times, or even certain shows have your commercials playing. So radio tends to be kind of expensive, so you got to be starting to make money before you start advertising on radio. But internet can be affordable depending if you do it right. Real estate magazines and newspapers. Newspapers tend to be more expensive, but when you advertise in them, um, they have reporters that'll usually start reaching out to you anytime they have a story about something real estate related. They'll call you up, ask you some questions, and then quote you, and then you'll be in a newspaper article as the expert that they consulted. You know, that's pretty cool. And you get advertised on their websites as well. Real estate magazines, some of them are cheaper than others. Some of them can be expensive. Some of them are cheaper, like those the bi-weekly ones. For sale by owners, like you said, reaching out to for sale by owners, they want to sell. They're just resistant to it at this time. Expired listings, how about that? They want to sell. They just failed for some reason, but they may be a little bit more hostile towards agents because they've already dealt with one that they did not have a good experience with. So just be aware of that. So you got to come at them with a different approach. I suggest taking some even training classes, or even ask if your broker has any training videos that you could watch. I got a whole series of them from David Knox and other real estate trainers. They teach you how to go about targeting FSBOs and expired listings, and the different scripts that you should use towards them to try to overcome their objections. Host an open house. Those buyers that walk in, ask them, where you living now? Do you got something you need to sell first? You can get listings from open houses. And here's another one I just recently added. Reach out to funeral parlor directors to provide them with literature. So you're going to have to make up some literature specifically for them, to provide literature, letting them about selling a home in their time of need. Be sensitive. Don't be an ambulance chaser calling people up when you see that their relatives died and there's a posting in the newspaper. That's just morbid, but you know what? Reaching out to funeral parlor directors, they usually have a list of attorneys and financial advisors and all kinds of other resources for people at their time of need when their relatives die. Sometimes they may need to sell real estate, and if you're in that literature, maybe you could make an appointment with them, talk over what's needed to maybe put together some materials that you could supply to them, because they deal with families all the time at these times of need. And so if you're doing it for funeral parlor directors, why not also reach out to family attorneys who practice family law? They deal sometimes with people when they need to foreclose, when they are going through foreclosure, or maybe they're getting divorced. Divorce attorneys, right? You think divorced people sell houses?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
So get an in with some of those family law divorce attorneys, perhaps, so that they could refer you, because those attorneys, those real estate agents should not be known or friendly with one party versus the other. They're supposed to be neutral in selling those properties. So there you go. All right. So there's just some ideas for you. Did you guys snap a picture of that, Paul?
For
Yeah.
sure. Thank you.
Okay.
Sir.
Well, you may want to write there the divorce attorneys there, the family law as well.
On it.
I don't think I have much more room to put it on this slide. All right. Here's some resources for you guys. Remember I told you about you said what, 78 cents for a first class stamp?
Yeah.
What about this resource that I showed you guys? USPS, United States Postal Service, every door direct mail. You guys ever hear that?
No.
Nope.
I'm going to show it to you then. So the USPS, the United States Postal Service, a lot of people have the email these days that they're using instead of the mail, even sending birthday greetings, right? Very few people actually take the time to go out and buy a card and send a birthday card or a holiday greeting card these days. So they're trying to spur up more business. And how do they do that? Well, what about for marketing companies, So they have this online tool. If you click here, you can get to the online tool, but I'm going to show you their video here that explains how it works. We just saw for 78 cents here, you could mail first class pieces for 24 cents each. Okay, or even less. Let's take a look at this video. Oh, I know I got to adjust the audio on this so that you guys can hear it properly. Okay.
How do you get the word out to the people near your business who matter most? Do it with Every Door Direct Mail. It features an online mapping tool for finding potential customers near your business. To use the mapping tool, enter a starting point. Then select nearby postal routes where you want your mail pieces delivered. You can see demographic data based on census reports, like age range and average household size and income, and choose among available routes. When you're finished planning your mailing, you can schedule it for delivery. Each mail piece costs less than the price of a stamp to send. Creating your mailing is easy too. You can do it yourself or find a list of printers or mail service providers on USPS.com. When your mail pieces are ready, bring them to the post office and we'll deliver to every address along the routes you selected. Reach potential customers simply and cost-effectively. Every Door Direct Mail from the U.S. Postal Service. Your post office anywhere.
All right, so you could schedule them out. You just print out enough mailing pieces and provide them to the post office and drop it off. You pay for the postage online. Look, I've got one here. Let's if you could have those. Look, they got additional videos. You could have their professionals do the design work for you if you want, or you could do your own. Here's the Every Door Direct Mail tool. This is the way that it works. Here, I could plug in. I'll plug in my zip code 07036. That's Linden. All right, so now it's zoomed into. This is all Linden over here. Let me zoom in on it. So this is all the zip code. Okay, let's see. If I want to mail to my section of town, this is the section of town I'm in. Look, you see how I hover my mouse over different areas? They get highlighted, a brighter color. So, and you can see the numbers up top change of, you got the mail carrier route number, how many residential mailboxes and business mailboxes, what the total is, what the age range is. Here, let's boost up that age range over here. I don't think 70-year-olds may be looking to move anytime soon, but you never know. We could send out to all of them. What the hell? I don't think there's many 25-year-olds in my area that are selling homes. So let's see, maybe in that 30-year-old price range. Probably not even in that case now with New Jersey. I just seen the news yesterday. They had a report there. I watched the business sections on the news, and they were talking about how New Jersey is the state that has the most kids that are still living with their parents because of the costs and the cost of real estate. And so let's check it out. So I could hover over this section here, click on this, and you see how it stays lit up there. And you can see the total that goes to 476 residential and 180 businesses. If I don't want to send it to the businesses, I could uncheck that. I think I need to be logged in for that though. Yeah, I do. And if I want to send to this section here as well, I'll check that. Now, we got multiple carrier routes selected, so total 751 mailing pieces with 2 carrier routes selected. And it had cost me $185 in postage to send to 751 pieces. Whereas, how much would that be with a first class stamp? You said 78 cents?
I'll tell you right now,
So,
I'll do the math.
yeah, so do the math.
So we got 0.78 times 751,
Yep.
$585.78.
So saving you $400 right there on postage.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby. You got to put
Got
money
kids
in
to
your
feed, you know,
business
every
to make
little
money.
dollar counts.
So if you get a 1% response rate, 700, you know, you're going to get what, 7 or 8 people that respond to you, right? If one person turns into a listing that you sell, that's enough money to pay for all of this and your next bunch of campaigns and all of your real estate expenses for the year, as far as errors and emissions insurance, realtor dues, the MLS's fees, and any other fees that you got there. That's one transaction is enough to pay for all of that and then some. And then you do this, and that's only doing this once. Do it again and again and again. You know, you can make a lot of money in real estate. This
Yeah,
is
that's
just one transaction, putting a little bit of money back into your business. And then, look, you could even send out postcards with ads on them that on the bottom, maybe you do some co-marketing with an attorney and a mortgage company. And then you can help them, you could have them help subsidize your cost of these mailing pieces too. Right?
love it.
Mm-hmm. And then, so then you just hit to the next step and move on, and then you check out, and it'll have a listing of all the carrier routes that you selected, how many mailing pieces, and the post office wants you to supply a couple extras in case some get damaged. And this way, the postal carrier, they'll carry all those postal pieces and put one in every mailbox along their route when they deliver the mail every day. Okay, you could select the date that you want it delivered too. So not bad resource there. Okay, but what about this, the postcards or whatever the mailing piece is? Well, you got Print, Vista Print, Staples, other places where you can get stuff made up. Got Print is like Vista Print. It's a super cheap place where you could get things mailed out or printed up for you. You could get way cheaper than local print shops, put it that way. A lot of them sell to print shops so that they can mark it up and still make money off of it. Like Got Print, you could get like, here, let's take a look. There's all this crap here. Okay, so what is all this shit? So gotprint.com, they used to only sell to industry, other print shops and marketing companies. Look at this. Postcards get made up starting at cheap prices. Business cards, right? Let's take a look. Business cards. Get your business cards made up. Don't just order them from your brokers, order them on your own. So this is for 50. How about 1,000, 10,000, 5,000? Here, let's get 5,000 business cards made up. Hopefully, you know that you're going to be there for a while. And let's got them a thick 14-point card stock. You could get other kinds of premium papers and such as well. But let's just go with their 14-point glossy business cards. The backside should not be glossy so people can write notes on them and stuff, though. But you could still have printing on the back of something that just says your referrals are appreciated or thank you for your referrals or something to that nature. So full color, no back or grayscale back. You know, you could have some wording on the back there. We don't need to have any fancy rounded cut corners or anything. That costs needless money. And you got the UV coating only on the front. And $125 for 5,000 5,000 business cards. Now you don't got to worry about giving them out. You give them out, you give people 2, 3, 4 of them, right? Probably costs you just as much to get it mailed to your house because it's so heavy, right? What about those mailing pieces, those postcards? Okay, let's get a little larger postcard made up because you could send every door direct mail some larger postcards too. So 4.5 by 6, 5 by 7. Let's do 5 by 7. That's a much bigger postcard. And you print on both sides. Let's do full color on both sides. Although you can do full color and then grayscale on the other side, or full color on both. Let's do full color and grayscale. And let's do a mailing that we could send out over and over and over again. We're not going to do this all in one shot because the example we just gave was sending out, what's it, 700? So let's go with 5,000. That's a lot. That is a lot. But so we got them stocked up and we'll be sending them out for just about all year, 5,000. And how much does that cost us? $258 for 5,000 postcards. Full color one side, grayscale on the back. Not bad. Not bad. I'm giving you guys resources. I used to have websites that you could sign up here, but one of the bigger companies bought them up and just shut them down because they were so popular, taking away business from them. So they used to have one. Geez, I don't even remember what it's called now. Yeah, but it was so cheap, and it had advanced features and such. So you guys will have to look around for your own custom real estate websites, but make sure that they have an IDX feed. Basically, an IDX feed is a feed of the listings. People can search the MLS right through your website, and you can generate your own leads. Here's some tools that have contact managers. They have postcards. They do email drip campaigns. You could track finances and all kinds of other stuff on them. Realty Juggler or Top Producer. Top Producer, I would say wait till you start making some money because that's kind of expensive. Realty Juggler, you could try that one out for free for 90 days. Prospects Plus and Lens Designs, these are ones that give you sample designs for postcards, and they could even do the mailing out for you through Every Door Direct Mail. But Prospects Plus, Lens Designs, they're real estate specific designs and postcards that they make up. The Red X is a great tool. I suggest that you invest in it. Even if your broker has it, get it for yourself. The Red X is a tool that could scan you put in your logins to your MLSs, and it'll search the MLSs for daily for expired listings and have that list all ready for you. Or it'll scour the FSBO websites and aggregate that data for you. They have some other tools there too now. Check them out. It's called The Red X. Homes.com is a great way that you could advertise listings once you have them. You could show people how I'll advertise your property on Homes.com, and people will search for homes in this area, and in one click they'll be able to find it on Google, your house. Realtor.com, fill out your free realtor profile there. NAR RPR, that's a great tool for you guys to do your research and to do CMAs and a lot of other information you can get out of it. And there's a blog that they have that teaches you about it. They also have an app. If you have that NAR RPR app installed in your cell phone, you stand in front of a property that's for sale, that's listed, it'll automatically pull up that property's info. You don't even have to do a search. It uses the phone's GPS and automatically pulls it up. It's pretty cool. But did I show you guys that NAR RPR app? Did I pull that up already and show you the video of that? No.
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 Let's take a look at them. NAR RPR. This is a tool you get for free with your realtor membership. Instead of me going into it and logging in, I'm just going to show you this video that'll show you an explanation of what it is.
At Realtors Property Resource, we know that every realtor's goal is to be successful, maybe even wildly successful. To achieve that goal, you need to be closing deals. but it can be difficult to differentiate yourself from the competition, and that can lead to second-guessing yourself. RPR can help you overcome that feeling and stand out as a realtor. That's why we built the nation's largest property database exclusively for realtors, with the ability to search both residential and commercial properties right from the homepage. RPR is a real estate data platform that was designed with you and your success in mind. Its user-friendly and inviting interface allows you to keep tabs on your market areas, conduct powerful, intuitive map searches, farm for prospects, and create a variety of professional-looking reports that you can send to your clients in an instant. RPR isn't a magic button that solves everything. You still have to put in the work and effort, but it is flexible, easy to learn, and provides realtors with access to data, tools, and reporting to help you find clients, impress them, and bring them to the closing table, because your hard work should lead to success. RPR can be accessed online at narrpr.com and by app on both iOS and Android. RPR Residential covers every corner of your real estate business, from working with buyers to listing presentations and open houses. Quickly access everything from school, tax, foreclosure, and mortgage information to demographics, mapping, flood zones, historical data, and so much more. RPR Commercial provides realtors with a central source of information to target locations and access consumer data for business sites. With one place to access properties, perform research, and conduct site selection analysis without any high premiums, commercial practitioners can stay at the forefront of trends to help attract and retain clients. RPR's Learning Center is where you can get started and learn more. Just go to blog.narrpr.com/learning and choose the specific topic you're interested in, and then narrow down your options. You can then choose your own way of learning, from comprehensive webinars to quick video tutorials, printable guides, and in-depth ebooks. While you're on the blog, don't miss our tips and strategy articles, realtor success stories, and Decoding Real Estate, our podcast that breaks down topics and trends critical to your real estate business. Also, be sure to subscribe to the RPR YouTube channel. It's an easy way to learn more about RPR features and tools and stay current on updates and improvements. And for our new members, we have curated the best of the best under our RPR New Member Toolkit at blog.narrpr.com/new-member. RPR is a benefit of the National Association of Realtors and included in your member dues. Wow your clients and close more deals. Log in to RPR today.
If it's free, it's for me, and you're paying your dues anyway, so it's included. So why the hell not, right? Just throwing some ideas out there at you.
Cool.
So, you guys can get this list of links there. Once again, this is in the Class Links Word document, or you could get it from the slideshow. Or you can snap a picture of it and then type it in manually. Okay, you got all these things here. Affinity, instead of spending a lot of money on Adobe, Photoshop and PageMaker and editors and stuff like that, you could get this great tool from this Australian company called Serif. They came up with this Affinity line of editing tools, great for making flyers and posters and business card designs and stuff like that. Or you could use companies like Canva and subscribe to them, or Vistaprint. And if you sign up for Canva Pro, whatever that fee is annually, you could also get some of their templates, and you just fill them out and customize them if you're not graphically inclined. And I think you could also get discounts at print shops too, like with Vistaprint too. I think Vistaprint has a advanced design tool as well. QR code generators, although tools like Serif, the Affinity, They have QR generators built into them. This one's a cool QR code generator, but you got to pay for the QR code. It's not really worth it. QuickBooks Self-Employed or FreshBooks for keeping track of your finances for your taxes, or using tools like Hootsuite or Patty Post to manage your social media presence. So, there's so many different social media apps out there now. So what are you going to be doing? Jumping around between 5 or 6 or 10 different social media apps for your business? That could be a full-time job in itself. But with companies like Hootsuite or a cheaper alternative, Patty Post, you could make a post one time and it posts in all the different social media platforms. And anytime somebody makes a post in response to it, it'll all be in one interface. So you could respond to it there. It makes it a lot easier to manage all the social media. If you want some custom designs for your business cards or property flyers or marketing or videos or audio or anything that you need made up, you could go to a company called Fiverr, where you could get professional designers that'll make those things for you. And you could own them for as little as $5. Here's a tool you get for free, the pro version with the Garden State MLS membership. I think All Jersey gives you a basic membership for this, but Remine is a great tool for mining for clients, doing reverse prospecting and things of that nature with this tool. And that's included free with your membership to that MLS. You got your realtor.com agent profile. This video shows you how to set it up, and this is the link to it. And that's some resources I got for you. So good luck.
Very, very useful. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So when we get listings, we got to gather a lot of information to put into the MLS. You could either walk around with your device, whether it's your cell phone or tablet or computer, and walk around the property and then start entering in the listing as you're walking around the property. Or you go in there with pre-printed forms and then you just write down everything as you walk around. And then when you get back to the office, enter in the listing later. But there's a lot of information we need to gather. And those MLSs usually have property input sheets, like Garden State MLS got them available for us that we could see publicly now. So I'm just going to click on this link here so that you could see it. Let me close out some of these other links I got open here. Okay, so this is the Garden State MLS with their listing input sheet page. And here's an example. Let me click on single family residential condos and co-ops. See, they got forms for all kinds of stuff. Coming soon listings, rentals, businesses, commercial, vacant land, multifamily, single family, property changes, listing agreements, addendums to withhold the owner's information contact information from the MLS, yada, yada, yada. They got a lot of the seller's property condition disclosure, the CIS form, the new open house sign that we're required to have in all open houses. They got all that information here in these listing input sheets. This is a good resource for you. So here, let me share that. But here, you could you could open it up and you could see all the fields in red are required information that we need to gather. All the other stuff is optional. How many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, how many total rooms, what's the lot size, about the construction year built, the architectural styles, what type of basement, have the owner's initial at the bottom of each and every page here. Roof, type of roof, garage spaces. Is there a garage or not? Is there parking spaces, off street? All kinds of information about the property where you do your write-up, and then start talking about the different rooms and their sizes and what level of the building they're located on. This is all information that we need to gather. Type of kitchen, dining area, the primary bathroom. Is there an in-law suite? Is it handicap modified? uh, all kinds of interior features, fireplaces, appliances that are included, other amenities, the type of heating systems and fuel, utilities that are available, whether they're public or private, septic or municipal, cooling, water heaters, sewage, other stuff, the taxes, the amount of the taxes, all that good stuff goes there. Are we allowed to put a sign on the listing? Is this short sales? The lender approved it yet or not? What is the business relationship that you have with the brokerage? Is it what kind of listing? Is it designated? Oh wait, business relationships, designated agency, disclosed dual agency, seller's agent, or transaction broker? Is the seller allowing you to put a sign on the property or not? What are the showing instructions? And then put down any additional showing instructions there. Are you allowed to syndicate it out from Garden State MLS and other websites? And then the owners sign and you sign. And then you can submit these listings to the MLS. But it helps you with the information you need to know to gather. It's not a bad idea when going in for a listing to ask the owner first if to make sure that all of the property owners will be available at your appointment so that you could go over it with everybody one time. Ask them for a copy of their original deed and survey if they have it so that you could, they don't need to make a copy of it for you. Just see if they could have it available. And then on your cell phones, you guys should download an app called Adobe Scan. You could use your camera on your cell phone then. It'll automatically detect the edges no matter if it's an odd size paper or not. And it'll turn it into a PDF document or image for you. PDF is better because it's scalable and printable.
If you Apple, if you have an iPhone, the preview app does that now as well, just so anyone knows.
Preview app?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you could, if you went into your notes the way they did it before, if you went into your notes, you can scan document and it does the same thing. But now they moved it to the preview app.
Okay. Yeah, I know nothing about Apple, so if you guys understood what he just said, there you go. Okay. But yeah, I know that the Adobe app works on both Apple and iPhones.
Yeah.
The Apple iPhones and the Androids. So it's universal. And look, with we get some apps that are available with our realtor membership dues, as well as some of the MLSs. I have a folder on my cell phone just called RE apps for real estate apps. I got that RPR there, PhotoFi, Adobe Scan, showing time for setting up appointments. Make sure you have a Compass app. You're going to need a compass, right? Especially for people who follow Feng Shui or Vastu. That's a lot of, if you have Indian clients, a lot of them will follow Vastu, and it makes a difference. And if you don't know, you're going to be so pissed off when you show them 1 million homes and they never make an offer on one because the front door is not facing the right direction, and they'll never tell you. You need to know to ask them about it. So you show them 100 properties, then you're like, what are you guys doing over there? They're all huddled around their cell phone. Oh, we're looking at a compass. Why? Oh, we want to see which direction the front door's facing. Why? Well, because if it's not facing the right direction, we won't buy it. Son of a gun, you think you could have shared that with me?
Why though? I mean, now I'm interested. Why?
Well, it's kind of like some people follow Feng Shui principles. Vastu is the similar thing. Maybe their guru or their advisor should advise them that, east is always the best. South, they'll never buy. If the front door is facing south, they'll never buy it. And it's, I don't want to say it's necessarily a religious thing. It's more of like what their guru advised them. Facing this direction will bring prosperity to your life and fertility and good wealth and luck and all kinds of stuff like that. I guess some people refer to it as a religion. Other people refer to it just as advice from the guru. And then I could talk to other Indian people and they'll be like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. So it's, but there's a lot of people that follow it. It doesn't matter if it makes sense to you or not. You just need to know if it's important to them.
For them. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And then so that you could then, now, if I knew which direction the door faces, I wouldn't even have set up an appointment. I would have pulled it up on Google Maps or Microsoft Bing and see the bird's eye view and twist it. By the way, to see the direction when you're holding a compass in your hand, to see which direction the front door faces, the front door should be to your back. And if there are any railings that are wrought iron railings around you, make sure you take a couple steps away from the house so that the wrought iron doesn't mess with the magnetism of your compass app. Okay. And then you have the direction that it faces. Let's see. I got all my MLS apps here. Also have Remind Pro, Forewarn to do criminal background checks on people on the fly. We got something called Kubi Casa, where Garden State MLS and Middlesex County MLS give us a free membership of a basic membership to do floor plans. You just you open up the app and you just walk along the wall and the floor, and you go like this around all the edges, have all the doors open for closets and rooms, and it'll create floor plans for you. And then you could have those pictures of the floor plans. I got my NAR app, Home Spotter, Zip Forms, Zip Form Mobile. That's for our contracts. All right. And of course, that Adobe Scan. And if you want, have a basic calculator, but I also have something called Carl's Mortgage Calculator, KARLS, where you could plug in the numbers and it'll automatically figure out, it'll create the tables for you for the payments of a mortgage over a period of years with the different down payments and interest rates and years and stuff.
What'd you call it? Carl's Mortgage Calculator?
Yep, Carl's, KARLS, Carl's Mortgage Calculator.
And that's an app?
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, so let's see. We got other property information. This is material information that we collect about houses, like what are the current tax figures, the true tax figures, not any discounted amounts. Special assessments that may be outstanding. What are the HOA dues? And we need the contact information for the homeowners association or property management. Get the contact information and address and all that stuff. How much money does the current owner still owe on their house? You may be able to get that from tax records from some of the tax record systems that we use, but just ask them outright too. So we could figure out, how much they'll net from the sale. Is the property distressed? Ask them, are you currently in danger of foreclosure, divorce, bankruptcy? Are you behind? Is your home worth less than what you owe on it? So that would be a short sale situation. We could still sell your property possibly in some of these situations. We just need a different approach if we're aware of it. If you're in bankruptcy, we're not going to most likely be able to sell your home unless your property's been discharged as an asset of the bankruptcy, which in 99.9999% of the time it would not be. Utility companies, but you know what? Some of the MLSs are making that stuff available to us in tax records already. We don't even need to ask them. We'll plug in the address and we know who the utility company is. But utility companies for the cable TV or satellite or Fios or what's available around you. Are you on public sewers, or do you have septic, cesspool, or tight tanks? Tight tanks and cesspools, they need to be replaced with septic systems or tied into a public sewer and water supply. What appliances or chattel is being included in the sale or excluded? And what is the date of occupancy or possession that'll be available for the buyers? At closing, will you have all your stuff out by then, or will you still need more time? Possibility of seller financing or any concessions to help with the buyer's closing costs. That would help sell your home. Different markets, different times, you may want to offer these things. What's the zoning classification of the property? Is it commercial, industrial, residential, mixed use? Is it in a flood zone? Well, you could use any of these tools to find out that. You could purchase a flood map certification if the person wants to avoid paying flood insurance. You could get it discounted through this resource here. Even though you could get it through NAR RPR, you could also check the FEMA website. You want to see if your property's in a flood zone? Look up FEMA. This is their portal for flood zones. Oh, somebody posted. Oh, Jaren. Okay. Difference between Feng Shui and Vastu? Is it a? Is that an in-depth guide?
Oh, it's for later reading. I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I was listening to you, so I didn't read it fully. I just
Yeah.
shared it for later
Oh,
if
okay,
anybody
okay.
cares. But it's like,
Yeah.
and it's like an Indian version of feng shui, and feng shui is like kind of like it's like energy and
Well, different
beliefs.
people follow Feng
So
Shui, but if you look at Chinese people, it's actually part of their religion, Feng
ah
Shui. It doesn't just have to deal with energies; it also has to deal about finding sites where bodies
space.
would be buried for grave
Interesting.
sites. For finding the most optimal place for grave sites.
Well, don't do like what's her name, Mary Ellen, and
Oh,
live at the movie theater.
yeah, Mary Ellis. Mary Ellis.
Mary
Yes,
Ellis
grave site of Mary Ellis.
at the movie theater.
Well, it wasn't a
Okay,
movie
yeah,
theater at the time.
I know.
So pages like this, you could see this is the FEMA website. You could plug in your address or latitude and longitude coordinates, and it'll tell you if the property's in a flood zone or not. Want me to see if anybody's property's in a flood zone? I could plug in an address. Let me look at your neighbor or something like that, or someone else's address. You basically plug it in here. I sent you guys the link. You plug in an address. Here, I'll plug in my old address of a property I used to own that I sold, 219 Irene Street in Linden, New Jersey, 07036. And we do a search, and it brings up the map, and it also brings up some additional revisions too. So don't just look at the map, also look at these revisions that may have been done. I know that these revisions were actually done way back in 2006 though. And you could see these properties located just at the edge of the flood zone, but nonetheless, it's in a flood zone. It rarely ever seen water, but when we seen those huge storms, I think it was Katrina. There's little tributaries and waterways that come in here from the Arthur Kill, and they actually flooded this area. Where at hello, okay, so you could see the house. This was the house right here. Here's that where all those trees were. I had 5 trees over here that the city ended up cutting down because they had the Japanese beetle. And at the end of the block up here, where there's a stop sign, the water actually went up to there, and the top of the stop sign was just peeking out from the water. That's how high the flood zone, the water came. But other than that, it like never flooded there before until that occurrence. So then they redrew the flood maps, and now it's in a flood zone. So flood insurance is required if any corner of the property is in a flood zone. Now half the house is showing to be in a flood zone. And this is a special flood zone right here. So you can see the keys down below. But this is a quick way that you can see if a property is in a flood zone. But the best way is just to check with the seller's lender. They'll let you know if it's in a flood zone. So detailed list of exactly what will and what will not be included in the sales price to avoid problems in the future. Licensees should ask for a copy of the seller's deed and survey and title policy, and take a picture of it. Scan it with the tool like Adobe Scan. And even though you're invited to their home, remember, check their IDs, right? So here, I'll show you this Adobe scan tool and show you how it works. Even though you said there was another separate tool available for the Macs. Let's take a look. I'm not sure if it's this trailer is this that explains it, how it works. Yeah. All right. I mean, it's good for scanning odd size things like maps, you know, the surveys and deeds, which could be narrow, long pieces of paper too. You just hold it far enough away and it'll automatically detect the edges, and you can even fine tune that and convert it into a PDF document, which can then be printed. So this is the Adobe Scan tool now includes AI PDF scanner. I don't know what the AI does for it, but there's that for this is from the Google Play Store, but you could also find it in the Adobe whatever store they got there. Okay. All right. Confirm, check their IDs, I said. Oh, here it is. We got somebody who didn't, and they got in trouble in 2001. What did Paula Leiden do? They said she was incompetent because she failed to confirm that her client was the legal owner of the property prior to marketing said property and entered into a contract of sale for the property. Leiden agrees to pay in full the outstanding balance of a fine that was assessed against her in conjunction with the previous consent order within 90 days of issuance of this order. Leiden agrees to pay an additional fine in the amount of $4,000, also within 90 days of the issuance of the order. And failure to pay within the set time frame is grounds for immediate suspension of the license until the obligation is paid in full. Leiden agrees to pay to a 30-day license suspension with any license issued following the suspension, to be held on probation for a period of 1 year. And Leiden agrees to complete 3 hours of CE in a content of area of disclosure, which will not count towards her required hours of license renewal. Yeah, check the IDs, like I've been saying, right? So we got those MLS listing input sheets I already showed you. And, you know, some info is like what type of heating and cooling systems there are. There are such things as, what about the air conditioning units? Is it through the window, through the wall? Do they need to be included in the sale, by the way? Those air conditioning units that are through window and through the wall?
Through the window, no. Through the wall, yes.
If it's attached. Maybe not.
I would say through the wall, yes. Through the window, okay. Whatever they say, whether they're including it or not on the disclosure statement, you know. But generally, if it's through the window, they can take it with them. It's not permanently attached there. But if you got a big hole cut through the wall, you can't just leave a big hole in the wall, you know. What about whole house fans? You guys know what that is? You ever hear of a whole house fan? Those things are awesome. I found this little video that this lady made about a whole house fan.
Okay.
You could usually find them in older houses. They're huge fans in the attic that are between 4 to 6 feet in diameter. Okay. You figure, look, this is a hallway. Hallways are typically what, about 4 feet wide at least, right? So this fan grate takes up from edge to edge. This fan grate, by the way, was not installed properly. It looks kind of sloppy. But you could find these in older houses where the switch to this will be like in an upstairs closet in the hallway, and it will turn it on. It's great for cooling a house. Uses a lot less electricity than air conditioning units. It's also great for getting fresh air flowing through it if you like a nice breeze going through the house. Or when you burn your cooking, it'll suck all the air out too.
This is a video for people who are wondering what a whole house fan is. This is what the grate looks like in the ceiling. We just moved into this house and we weren't sure what this was. Some people, I think, call it an attic fan, but it's really good for cooling down your whole house. So it is a whole house fan. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna turn it on. I turn it on. Oop, it's trying to focus here. What's going on? There we go. All right, here we go, turning it on. That's high. You can see the fan blade is huge. That's on high, and it creates an amazing breeze throughout the whole house. You have to have all your windows open so it doesn't create weird negative pressure. I'll turn it down to low. There it is on low. Still creating an amazing breeze throughout the whole house. It works extremely well. So if you're looking for an alternative to air conditioning in a hot area, this thing works great. It's been about 85 to 90 degrees outside. This cools the inside of our house at least 10 to 12 degrees, so we have not needed to run the air conditioning. Plus, there's just constantly air moving through the windows, up through the fan, up through the attic, and I'm sure there's a port up there where it all goes out. But anyways, that's what it looks like. And here I will turn it off. And then the flaps close, and that's it. So that's what it looks like. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, those things are great. But if you ever see one of these in the house, make sure you go up in the attic and take a look and make sure the fan shroud is on the back side of it. Otherwise, you'll never pass the city inspection because it's a danger in case somebody's standing up there and the fan is running that they could fall on it and get seriously injured. So,
Final Destination.
that kind of thing.
Okay.
All right. Responsibility for investigating. New Jersey License Act further requires a fully executed signed copy of any listing agreement be provided to the owner at the time of execution, and that the listing contain a definite termination date. Okay, how many times did they say that already? You think that's an exam question? In order for a listing to be valid, it has to have the end date, the expiration date in there.
Yes, sir.
And remember, check IDs of the owners and the buyers before having them sign any listing agreements or contracts, because you don't want to get in trouble like that Linda lady did for having someone, she took a listing from someone who wasn't even the owner. Like that one time I got out of it because I had that little voice talking to me inside my own head. It said, check their IDs, check their IDs.
Got it.
This page 188. Everybody got it?
Got it.
Got it.
Yes, sir. Got it.
So cooperation with other licensees. Once again, we went over this only about 400 times. And we get a listing. We put it in the MLS within
48 hours.
unless
They tell us not to, and then they have to
Who's
sign
they? who's
The-
they?
The owner.
the owner
Only
Tells
the
tells us
owners.
not to.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then they have to sign a what? It's called
you tell me.
I know, it's called
It's an
a
exam question, Victor. We're testing
waiver,
you.
disclosure, waiver of broker cooperation.
Correct, because that's how we cooperate with brokers, by sharing our listing inventory with them in the MLS. There you go. Very good. And anytime we get an offer in writing, we have to forward it to the other party or present it to them within
24 hours.
24 hours.
24 hours.
Yep. So I got all that stuff on here, and that's all that stuff is actually one little paragraph here on page 188 too. And they're probably all going to be exam questions, right? You got to put the listing in the MLS unless who tells you not to? The owner.
The
And you get them
owner.
to sign what? A waiver of broker cooperation agreement. Otherwise, we got to put the listing in the MLS within 48 hours.
48
And any
hours.
offers that come in writing, we have to forward them or present them within.
24 hours.
24 hours.
24 hours.
There you go. Y'all got all this?
Yes,
Got
sir.
it.
All right. Cool. Commissions are negotiable, right? We don't engage in an illegal practice called price fixing, right? So even though sellers are no longer required to pay the commission to the buyer's side to offer a commission for a buyer, they still can, like they've always done. And then we split that with the other side to incentivize them to other agents to introduce their buyers to the property. So even though we got this NAR lawsuit that doesn't require sellers to pay the total commission that's to be split with the other side, we should be advising them that it is in their best interest to pay that total commission for us and allow us to split it with the other side, because it will bring more people to your home, right? You could sell your house quicker and at a higher price if you were to do so. And commission rates are negotiable between the listing broker and the seller. At the time of listing, they can negotiate all that and put it in the brokerage service agreement, the BSA. All listing agreements for 1 to 4 family homes have to include a notice that says in New Jersey, all commissions are negotiable. So even if a brokerage service agreement is not combined with the listing agreement, it still needs to say that in there. So if a FSBO, for sale by owner, is we're preparing the contract for one of their FSBO listings, which is not a listing at all. It's just a for sale by owner property. Because we never had a listing with them and never went over all the standard disclosures that we go over with people who list their property for sale with us, we still need to give them a disclosure. So we'll write this in the sales contract itself that says, as seller, you have the right to individually reach an agreement on any fee, commission, or other valuable consideration with any broker. And no fee, commission, or other consideration has been fixed by any governmental authority or by any trade association or multiple listing service. This shows that we do not engage in an illegal practice called price fixing, which is a violation of the Sherman Antitrust Act and the administrative code as well. Here's an example of listing agreements that from All Jersey MLS, which don't even talk about commissions anymore, but yet they still have to have that disclosure in there that says you have the right to individually reach an agreement on any fee, commission, talks about the commissions being negotiable. Garden State MLS, well, they combined their listing agreement with the brokerage service agreement, so they do talk about commissions on theirs still. And so therefore they have that same disclosure on theirs. All right. And here's that one slide about price fixing and allocation of markets and the Sherman Antitrust Act, right? So we're not going to talk with agents from competing firms, our competition, about how they go about charging the fees that they charge the public for the services they perform, right? And why is that? Because it's illegal. All right. And if you violate the Sherman Antitrust Act and you do engage in illegal price fixing, the fines for violating the Sherman Antitrust Act are up to $1 million for an individual and 10 years in prison. And for corporations and trade groups, it could be upwards of $100 million or more. When we list property, we got to get the seller to fill out that seller property condition disclosure report. It's no longer optional. They need to fill it out now. We got the Attorney General's memorandum. That seller property condition disclosure report just talks all about the property, its features, etc., any work that's been done, any problems that are known with the house as well as any improvements. The Attorney General's memorandum has to be given to who?
To the seller.
When?
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 Um, once you're hired,
At time of listing.
time of
Yes,
list-
at the time we get to listing. And I'm going to correct you just a little bit more. Instead of saying the seller, I'm going to say the owner, because what if
Yep.
they're putting it up for rent?
Yep.
So it applies to that situation as well. Okay. And what do we do if the owner tells us that they intend to discriminate? They don't want us showing the property to these people or those people. Then what do we do?
We
Explain
tell
to them
them
this discrimination is wrong and then take the listing, or what do we do?
we walk away.
We walk away. Okay. And listing commissions must be handwritten on the brokerage service agreement or listing agreement if it still includes it. And they have to be expressed as a fixed dollar amount or a percentage of the sales price. We're not allowed to have any prescribed fee schedules because that's not negotiable. And we need to have expiration dates on our listings, right?
Yes.
And anytime we have somebody sign a listing agreement, what do we do with it right away?
We give it to our broker. Oh, we give them a
Original duplicate.
A duplicate original. We give them a duplicate original of any contract or disclosure that we sign. Correct. All right. All right. All right. Oh, look at there with all the hearts floating around. All right. Listing agreements, the Attorney General memorandum. We just went over this, but here's another place to highlight it yet again. So you think this stuff is going to be on exam that they constantly keep repeating and we keep highlighting over and over again?
I think so.
Yeah, maybe.
May have a little
Maybe.
chance of being on the exam. Need to know what it is and when it's given. Who we give it to. Okay. Expiration of listings as well. All exclusive listings must specify an exact termination date. Seen that for the umpteenth time as well. So a little smidgen of a chance you may see it again on exams, right?
Possible. It's possible.
How long of a listing should we take? How long should we take listings for? Great question. I usually don't volunteer that. I usually just say, hey, this listing is 6 months or it's a year. I don't ask. Otherwise, they'll be like, 2 weeks. Try it out. A month, maybe. No, I'll put down 6 months or a year. But then if the owner asks me, I'll be like, oh, sorry. Thank you for bringing that up. Glad you asked. There's a way that we could scientifically determine how long of a listing period we need to take your listing for. We look at the number of homes on the market in this particular area, and then we look at the number of homes in that same area that has sold last month. We divide how many homes sold last month by the number of homes in the market, and that should tell us the absorption rate. It's a theory. It tells us that if no new homes come on the market for sale, and we know that's not going to happen, we know more homes are going to come on the market for sale. And if the number of buyers remains constant, there's no way of telling that. But let's just assume that no new homes come on the market and the number of buyers remain constant. This math formula will tell us how long it'll take for the current market to absorb all the homes listed for sale. So that's how long we need at minimum to try to sell your home. That'll give us the answer. That's a mathematical formula that we can use. It's called absorption rates. How long it takes the market to absorb all the listing inventory. Even though we know some homes are not going to sell because, well, they're just not going to sell. I mean, technically, if you price any home properly, it should sell. But, you know, you'll have people with some crappy, beat up, messy homes that still want too much money for their home, so it's never going to sell. We know that we're going to have some homes that the setting the appointments for showings is just next to impossible. So it'll we have trouble getting people in there. So how are you going to sell it if people can't see it? So not all homes are going to sell. So when it comes to the length of the listing period for considerations, how do we overcome objections? Well, the seller's objections to overcome may be, well, my home is nicer than all the others. It should sell quicker. Okay, well, how much are you asking for it? Are you asking top dollar or even higher? Just try it a little bit higher just for a little while. Well, then it's going to take longer to sell. So I need a longer listing period. What about commissions? Are you offering to pay a buyer's commission to incentivize buyers to come in? No. Well, then it may take longer to sell because you're shutting out a whole bunch of people who may not be able to afford all the cost to buy your house in addition to the commissions that they have to pay to the agents. So is the house priced correctly? What about showing availability? Do you have pets? Maybe we need to board your dog because we don't want nobody getting bitten or scared when they hear a behind the front door and they're afraid to open the front door to walk into the house because it sounds like the dog's on the other end and we don't know if it is or not placed into that cage. I've had showings where the people said, "Oh yeah, we boarded the dog. We put him in a cage," and the cage was right behind the front door. And it sounds like the dog's right there at the front door. And they got a Rottweiler or a pit bull or something with a throaty growl right there. And it scares the crap out of the kids in the family. Is he going to break out of that cage? Is he going to kill us? Let's, but any pets, doesn't have to be a vicious dog. It could be allergies or odors that we sense. There's a lot of people who have kitty litter boxes that they just do not empty multiple times a day, and therefore or they may use cheap kitty litter, and that odor festers throughout the house, and people can sense it right away. But the owners don't know about it. They're like, "I don't smell nothing," and you could tell them, "Well, that's because you've gone nose blind." Those Febreze commercials? Have you gone nose blind? Right? You could use that as an example way to talk to your clients. You may have gone nose blind because you're around them all the time, but new people, they walk in, it's the first thing they smell, and that could be a turnoff for some. So clean your kitty litter box more often, burn some incense or candles or something, get it's smelling right. Pick up the dog poo or cat poo or what have you. I've had an instance this one time. I think it was in Chatham or something like that. I was showing this house and I opened the front door, walked in. The buyer walked in right behind me. And then we stopped right there at the entrance. And I'm talking to her. And then I'm hearing meep, 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 meep. And I'm like, what the hell is that? I'm looking around and then I look down at the floor and it's this furry little, it looks like a toy. It looks like this furry little toy that's about this big that I could fit in the palm of my hand. And it's going meep, meep. And then it goes back on its hind legs like this. And I'm like, is that a wind up toy? And then it starts walking closer to me. I'm like, holy crap, that's real. That's a real dog. I was like, I've never seen a dog that small before in my life. It was like this little ball of fur. It looked like a little wind up toy dog. And it made the tiniest little noise, like meep, meep. I was like, this is the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. I picked him up and put him in the palm of my hand. I held him up like this. And the lady was scared crapless. She hid behind me. And she's like pulling on my shirt like that, trying to hide from it. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, look at this. And she's like, ah. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, calm down. I'll keep it away from you. Here, look, I'll put it in my pocket. I was like, I'll hold it throughout the whole thing. I won't put it down. I swear to God. She was genuinely scared to death of the dog. It was this little tiny, I mean, I don't even know if I could call it a dog. It's this little toy thing that was living, that was in my hand. It's the cutest little thing. This just goes to show you guys, If she got so scared she tripped and fell, hurt herself, I could be liable for that. The property owner can be liable for that. And we're not talking about a vicious dog here, or even a big dog that's innocent that could cause damage. We're talking about this little tiny, I don't think if it even bit me, it would draw blood. This thing was so small, but yet she was scared of it. You know, be careful with pets around people. Find out, read the pet instructions when it comes to showing instructions for listings. If you're the listing agent, make sure you put showing instructions there for pets. Make sure you discuss it with the property owner. You know, don't let the cat out, you know, but also don't just say pet instructions, call, write them there in the listing. Because I told you guys once before about an instance I had in Summit where I was showing a property and it had it said call for pet instructions. So I was calling a week in advance before the showing. And I couldn't get in touch with the real estate agent. The office just confirmed it, just said pet instructions, but didn't say anything. And I set up the appointment. The agent still never got back to me all week long. And despite my calls and messages. So I go to the house and I actually show it, but I'm rapping on the door, making sure if there's a dog there, it's going to hear me. I don't hear any barking. We look in the bay window, we see a cat over there looking at us, and it's like, oh, it's probably don't let the cat out. So come on in, let's get in here. Let's not let the cat out. Showed them the whole entire house. And then we go to the bedroom on the first floor. There was a bedroom, and that's the last room we saw. And then we came back out to the kitchen. They love the house. They want to put an offer in. So we're talking about now what the next steps are. And it's this the husband and the wife is holding her newborn baby. You know, I'm talking newborn, you know, and out of the room that we were just in comes some kind of it wasn't a pit bull, but it was one of those bully type dogs, and it came out and it was like with this, that throaty growl, came charging at us, and we spread out like cockroaches, get into the closest room and slamming the door behind us, you know. And I was like, are you guys okay? Is the baby okay? Is everybody all right? You know, and you know, they went to the basement, closed the basement door. There was a bathroom over there. I got into the bathroom and it was just like our hearts were pounding. It's like, where the hell did that come from? The dog was in the room that we were just looking at. It was a bedroom. He was actually sleeping under the bed. But what about, we were talking, we were in the bedroom, we were talking, we were loud. I was knocking on the door when I came in. After we managed to sneak out of the house without the dog attacking us, bring, I get a call from the agent. Don't show the house. Don't go in there. We need the owner to board the dog, to take the dog out. The dog is deaf and he will bite. I was like, oh, now you tell me. Why don't you put that into your listing? You know, yeah, the dog was
return
deaf.
a phone call.
Yeah, I mean, who the hell? Yeah, return your calls, damn it. Put something in the listing in the MLS. You know, you're telling me that the dog bites and you don't bother to put that in the listing? Come on. You know, they should put in a listing. Important. Make sure you call first. Dog needs to be taken out for showings. You know, the dog will bite, the aggressive dog or whatever, you know, it needs its owner there. It's some kind of rescue dog, but the dog does bite and he is deaf. So I was like, yeah, thanks for the heads up, you know. So, you know, my clients now, you think they were still interested in this property after that experience? They were just glad to be out of there alive. You know, this is the instance where they felt like their newborn child was going to be murdered, you know, by the dog, you know. So yeah, they didn't put in an offer on it, unfortunately, in this expensive home because of the agent's poor showing instructions pertaining to pets. So guys, ask about pets, discuss it with your clients. All right, how about this? These are actually pretty good to have in your showing presentations or listing presentations to sellers, especially if they have certain odoristic properties to their home.
Sadly, Angela's gotten used to the odor her cat leaves in the couch. She no longer smells it. Yep, she's gone nose blind. We staged an intervention to help her sister break the news.
To the left. This is exactly what your house smells like. For real? Yes. Oh, you are tripping, really?
Febreze Fabric Refresher eliminates pet odors you've gone nose blind to.
Smells good.
One of the many ways Febreze helps you and your guests. Breathe happy.
That's the way you could break it to them easily, just by showing them a video like that, maybe.
Sa-
Or like this.
You get used to pet odors in your car. You think it smells fine, but your passengers smell this. Eliminate odors you've gone nose blind to for up to 30 days with the Febreze Car Vent Clip.
Now, this isn't meant to be a Febreze commercial, but it's meant to get a point across to them about the odor.
You get
Or one like this.
You get used to rooms smelling of sweaty odors. Yep, you've gone nose blind. You think it smells fine, but others smell this. Use new Febreze Fabric Refresher for your hard-to-wash fabrics. It's odor clear tech.
All right. It's not, once again, it's not meant to be a Febreze commercial, but it's meant to get the point across. And they do a pretty good job with humor, you know. All right. How long of a listing should I get? Okay, there's an objection to overcome, and here's a lot of ways that we could address it. So the seller's objection is usually, well, my home is nicer, it should sell quicker. So the agent should ask them, well, so what did you price it at, though? Did you want to try it at a higher price? It's going to take longer. What about the showing availability? Can we only show it during certain hours on certain days during certain times when you're home? You know, what about pets? Are there any restricted show times? What about allergies and odors? What about the condition of the home or curb appeal? You know, first impressions matter. Sometimes I've driven up to homes and people just seen the outside of it as we pulled up the park. Is this it? Oh, no. You know, or what about showing condition? Your house needs to be that shiny penny on the block. It needs to be in that HGTV showing condition at all times when you've got your property listed for sale. You got to make the bed every morning. You need to put those dirty drawers, make sure they make it to the hamper, because nobody wants to see your skid stains in your underwear that are laying on the floor. That's nasty. But I've seen properties like this where showing them there's underwear on the floor, that nasty crap stains on them is disgusting. You know, make sure you hit the basket, homeowner. Let's see, hampers. Make sure the tub drain is clean after you take a shower. You know, nobody wants to see a fur monster growing out of the tub drain, even though they're like, I watched HGTV. I know we're looking for good bones on the house, and I know we need to overlook certain things. But the thing is, until they create smell-o-vision, where you could actually smell these odors and actually see the things in person, people, they think they know what they're looking for until they actually get to a house. They pull back the shower curtain, they see all the hair in the drain. They're like, oh, you know, yeah. What about high taxes and flood zones? May take longer. We need a longer listing period. Are you allowing us to have a for sale sign on the property or use a lockbox? Or do you got to be home all the time? What about clutter? There's a lot of collectors out there. You could have people who have collectors of fine items and they just have a lot of them, and it becomes very messy, though. But then again, you have outright hoarders who just have garbage throughout the house. You know, that's disgusting, you know. And a lot of people can't see past that. Look, I went in for a listing before that I went in to get, and the lady was a hoarder. There was garbage all over. It wasn't like fine items or anything that she was collecting. It was just garbage everywhere. Piles and boxes of stuff just thrown all haphazard. Couldn't see the dining room table because it was buried. I asked her if she had a dog, and it was just this lady and her mildly mentally disabled child who also had other physical, issues. And she got all excited and she started talking about the dog, telling me his name and everything. And, then the mother started getting in, oh yeah, this is the breed of it. And And it's like, okay, well, where's the dog? And they're like, oh, well, he died 5 years ago. I was like, Oh, the reason why I'm asking, oh my God, potentially embarrassing things here, but I got to say it. Uh, there's a pile of dog poo sitting right over there. She just carbon dated it for me. I know it's been there for at least 5 years.
Yeah, it's a collector's item.
It is now. Oh my God. But I, what do you do when you know, you got to say something. What do you be showing a house with a pile of shit on the floor? You know, got to let them know. Come on, stuff like this got to be cleaned up. If you can't clean this up, you're moving, you're going to need to start packing stuff. You got to go through things that you want to keep and things you want to get rid of. If you need help, I could help you get a company in here like Got Junk. They'll help dispose of some of these things or that are garbage. Or I could get a company in here that's a consignment company for like an antique store where they'll take some of your items that you think are of value that they could consign, put them on consignment for sale in their warehouses and stores. And when they sell, you know, you share the profit. All the other stuff that's garbage, they'll help clean that out. You know, but we need to do something because the place is a mess. Otherwise, it's going to take longer. I need a longer listing period to sell your home. What about the doorbell? Does it work? I mean, I've shown houses we go up, the doorbell don't work, and they're like, geez, the doorbell don't work. What else is messed up in this house? Right? It's the first impressions of people. I mean, you could get a cheap battery operated doorbell. It doesn't need to be even one of those camera operated doorbells. You know, it could just be some cheap remote control doorbell if the electric doesn't work to it. You know, if the paint on the front door is peeling, scrape it and paint it. That's a cheap. I'm not asking you to paint an entire house or the room, just the front door because it makes impression, right? Make sure that the kids remove any, if you got teenage kids there, make sure they remove any pornographic posters that may be hanging on the walls when you're trying to sell your house. I remember showing houses and came across one house, went to show, and the upstairs was the kids' bedrooms, and in both bedrooms and hallways were big life-size posters of naked women all over the place. And meantime, I'm taking this husband and wife and their two little toddler children, you know, through looking at this, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I got no control over this. I didn't know what was here, you know. What do you expect it? Come on. You're trying to sell your house, you know, so you need to have this discussion with them, you know. Hey, parents, do some parenting. Is the property distressed? Is it are you going through bankruptcy, divorce, short sale, foreclosure, estate sale? We need to know so that we could take a different approach in selling your home. What about any chattel? Is there any chattel that's included or excluded from the sale? Chattel, right? What is that? Tangible personal property. Is the seller offering any concessions or agency bonuses to the agency that gets the property under contract by a certain date, perhaps? That could be some motivation. Or maybe offering a home warranty. You know, I try to get sellers always when I get listings to purchase the home warranty for the buyers, because this way, when they do their home inspections and they come across things like the age of the water heater is it's past its life expectancy. So we're going to ask for a seller concession to pay for a new water heater or to have them replace it. I usually have the attorneys write that no repairs are going to be done for cosmetic de minimis. That's legal mumbo jumbo for it's working. It ain't broke. We ain't replacing it because it ain't broke. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, but it's past its life expectancy. Well, we're including a 1-year home warranty. So if it should fail within the next year, it'll be replaced free of charge. Right? So getting that home warranty helps overcome a lot of renegotiations by buyers. And here's a little tip for you. These warranty companies, they usually give the warranty for free during the listing term. And then they could purchase it for the buyer when we get it under contract. Okay. So let's put the warranty on your listing for free. So if the water heater or the furnace breaks down while the property's listed, it'll get replaced. Now, be careful about advertising. If you list your property with me, you'll get a free home warranty during the listing term that'll protect you. Can you ever offer anything for free to the public? Yes, it has to be genuinely free, but you got to offer it to everybody, and it cannot be contingent upon you doing business with me. So saying that you get the free warranty if you list the property with me, can't do it. Not until the Real Estate Commission puts those rules in effect on how you could go about doing it. All right. How do we price the, oh, wait, before we get into that. And close a couple of open windows here. And let me go over something I want to share with you. How long do water heaters last?
10 years.
How do you know how old the water heater is?
There should be a sticker on it.
Should be a date on.
Should be, could be, maybe. Well, I tell you what, some manufacturers, you got to just look at the tag that's on it with the serial number. You look at the serial number, the first couple numbers on the serial number are the date of manufacture. Now, water heaters, if you ever go to any stores, even Home Depot, Lowe's, they don't have loads of water heaters sitting on shelves there. The reason being is because surface rust can grow on them. And water heaters are, when they heat water, they're under pressure and they can explode. So it's dangerous to have them like that. So they usually don't have them sitting there for long periods of time. They order them as needed, and then they'll sell those water heaters. They may have a couple stocked up, but they don't keep a lot of them on hand. So I'm going to show you a video here from Ace Hardware that explains how to locate the water heater date and how old it is. Can you guys see it on screen?
Lou Manfredini, Aces Home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Expert, not sure
I cannot.
your water heater
You
is.
can't? You can't
No.
see it?
No.
I don't know what's going on with you guys. Like somebody.
Also, see, so it wasn't me. It wasn't me going crazy yesterday.
Well, it was you because I don't know.
Because I was the one who couldn't see it.
Well, now it's Kev though. But I don't know if it's maybe if you change your modes in your screen that you don't see it, or maybe the video is off to the side. But I could force a screen refresh by stopping it and then sharing it again, and then it should go up in front of you. Like, can you see it now, Kev?
There you go. Now I can see it.
There you go. Because I forced the screen refresh. All right. But sometimes it's you guys just moving the elements around on your screen, on your Zoom window, the controls and the videos. So let's take a look at this video.
I've got a tip on how to know exactly when it was made. All right, on your water heater, you're going to find a sticker somewhere that has a serial number and a bunch of information that you think is really not important, but it actually is. I want you to look at the serial number of your water heater. As an industry rule, the first two numbers actually are the year that the water heater was built. Now, in this particular one, you'll see that it's a 1 and a 9, so it was built in 2019. Now, something that many manufacturers are now doing is they're actually including a built date. So this unit actually has the month and the day that the water heater was built. Now, keep in mind, water heaters can be built but not installed on those particular same months or years. So that's kind of a shot in the dark there. If you live in a home that you're really not sure how old your water heater is, and this particular unit is a 2019, well, there's a good chance that it got installed in 2019, but that's not always the indicator of how exactly old the unit is, but it's pretty close. As a rule of thumb, the national average for the life expectancy of a tank water heater is about 10 years. So when you find that number, do the math. It's always less expensive to change a water heater on your own terms than in an emergency situation. And that's it. If you need more information, you can always go to our website, acehardware.com.
All right. So there you go. You were right. Have you checked the age of your water heater in your house?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I just replaced mine not too long ago, so I'm good.
Did it explode?
No, thank God. It just stopped working.
Okay. We got water heaters that their life expectancy is 10 years. And do you know why on average? It's not just on average, it's not because they just stop working, even though some do. If you maintain them, you could also just replace parts in them that could get them working again. You know, it's usually like the starter or the flame spreader or things like that. There's like, you could replace components in them, but a lot of people just say, it's past its life expectancy. You're safer getting rid of it before it explodes. Why would it explode?
I don't know why it would.
Well, the tanks are under pressure. They're heated. So they could explode because the inside is rusted up and you weaken the walls.
Mm.
Do you know that there's a way that you could extend that life expectancy and probably have that water heater last forever if those inside walls don't get completely rusted up? Do you know that inside of your water heaters, there's actually a rod? It's about a 4 to 5 foot length rod that's bolted in. They slide it in from the top of the water heater and it's bolted in. And that rod is made of a certain material that is meant to corrode instead of the walls. And if you were to replace that once it wears down, then you wouldn't have to worry about the walls rusting. And you should also be flushing your water heater once a month, which nobody ever does. When's the last time anybody here ever flushed the water heater in their house? Ever? You know, there's a valve, there's a little water valve there on the side. You could even attach a hose up to it and put it to the sink or to a bucket, and you could turn it on and you empty it out. And if it's coming out as dirty looking water, rusty water or whatever, because you got heavy metal, or not heavy metals, you get minerals and such that deposits that come in water and through the pipes and everything that come into your water heater, and they sit there, and that's the stuff that helps the corroding. But that rod would have attracted that stuff, so it would corrode instead of the walls on your water heater. So if you flush your water heater regularly and you replace that rod every couple of years, or there's a new type of rod that is you hook it up to electric, to power, to a power source, and that one will last practically forever. And you could have your water heater live way past 10 years, okay, if you maintain it. And then if any other parts like the starter go or something like that, you can replace those little cheap parts and it'll still live on without replacing the entire unit. Just a couple tips I want to put out there for you. And since I showed you this tip about finding out the date of water heaters, because I'm not assuming you guys know this stuff, but you know, you're going to be in real estate. You see the water heater, you look for that tag, and if it doesn't have a build date, you can look at the serial number and see the first 2 digits, and you know what year it was built, right? Well, here, I just told you about that rod and how to clean that and flush. Well, we also have this too.
Them in New Jersey from just...
I don't know. You tell me. Let's see. It's an advertisement. Here we go.
How easy it is to flush your water heater. Now, you may have not known this, but it's recommended that you flush your water heater every 6 months. Now, I'm trying to expand my knowledge when it comes to plumbing, and I didn't even know flushing your water heater was a thing. So this has never been flushed in the 6 years that we've been here. So I'm really curious to see what kind of junk is going to come out of this water heater. Now, just so you know how much you can potentially save doing this yourself, a plumbing company will typically charge between $100 and $200 to do a flush of your water heater. This takes about 20 minutes, and all you need is a water hose and a flathead screwdriver. So let's get right into it. All right, so here is our water heater that we're going to be flushing today. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and shut off the gas, and we're going to set our dial to the off position right here. Just like that. As you can see, this is a 2016 water heater, so this is actually 7 years without having a flush. And I might add that we don't have a filtration system, so that's going to contribute to how much sediment is going to build up in this water heater, whether or not you have a sediment filter. Now down here, you'll notice this is the flush valve here. We have a flat blade fitting at the top, and then we're just gonna screw our hose onto this, and we're going to run this outside. When we do this flush, we're gonna make sure that our water is on. Sometimes they say to turn this off, but we want as much pressure pushing all of that sediment out rather than turning that off and just letting this dribble out. The other reason is that, as you can see, I've got a sump pump. This is lower than ground level, which is right here. So the pressure is actually going to push that water out, even though it's higher, and we're going to contain it into a bucket with a filter to see how much sediment we get outside. Much as I love this shirt, it's a little bit small, so we're gonna use this for our filter. We're just going to throw this over it. We're gonna push it down quite a bit, and then we're gonna ratchet strap the ends. And then we drilled holes in our bucket. This one already had a crack, but I got this idea from Roger Wakefield to see how much sediment comes out of our water heater. I think we're gonna get a lot because we have pretty minerally water here. So a lot of calcium and other minerals will get trapped in here.
But you don't have to do this. You could just have the hose go to the sink in the basement and just flush it out until the water starts looking clear.
I'm sure. Since we're here, I want to show you an awesome trick. Instead of doing this, it always falls off, or even this, it a lot of times falls off. What we're going to do is we're going to feed this through here like that, and we're going to do the same thing for this side. We're just going to feed it in that loop, and this will stay. It will never come undone, and I've used this trick so many times, and I'm going to use it right now. All right, so our bucket is set up. This is ratchet strapped in place, so it's not going to go anywhere. So let's hop down to the water heater, turn that valve on, and see what we got. All right, so down here, all we're gonna do is we're going to thread this on and make sure that you have a rubber gasket. This is a brand new hose, so that's good. And we're just gonna open this to where the line is going straight this way, and that'll mean it's fully open and that we have all of our pressure going through. There we go. Let's see what we got. Oh boy, I'm just getting started, and we've got a lot in here already. Wowzers, that's insane. So this has been running for like 30 seconds. Look how much junk is coming out. Holy cow.
When you take a shower.
All right, so this has been running for a couple minutes. We're going to run it for, as you can see, we're spitting out stuff out here just because we got a little bit of spray off here. I'm gonna push this down. There we go. So we want to run this for about 10 to 15 minutes. That's going to give us a real good flush on our water heater. All right, so it's been over 15 minutes now. Let's go ahead and turn off our water heater valve and see what we got. All right, so all we're going to do here is flip this back to the off position. It'll stop by itself, and then we're going to take this off, and you can get something to catch this water while it's draining out of the hose here. You'll probably also want to grab a towel because a lot of residual water actually came out of this hose that I wasn't expecting. So if you're doing this, just make sure you grab a towel. All right, so now that the water heater has been flushed, we're going to relight our water heater. So we're just going to take out this insert so that we can see in this sight glass here. Let's start by turning our gas back on. And what we're going to do is we're going to set this to pilot. We're going to press down. And after a few seconds, we're going to press in this little green button right here. Just gonna press it a few times while simultaneously holding this down. As we hold this, we can see that blue flame. That's our pilot. We're continuing to hold this. We typically want to hold it for about 20 seconds or so. Sometimes you have to hold it for over a minute. So I just let off and our flame is still lit. So we're good to go. Now that the pilot is lit, we're going to move this dial over to on and we'll hear this water heater turn on. Now we can see the flames running. So we're good to go. Let's go ahead and put this back on and then our cover, and we'll be completely finished with this job. Now, time will tell if this actually leaks. We might have to put a cap on it, but that's another advantage to flushing this regularly. I would say at least once a year, but the more the better. You can keep that inside clean. But when we exercise this, it's going to keep that from seizing up and potentially leaking. So that's also an advantage there.
Progressive Commercial Insurance offers affordable small business protection.
You go.
You can receive discounts.
So there you go. That's a way to flush the water heater. And I think I had one about the rod inside the water heater that explains that. I think that one's in a different spot, though. Did you guys ever hear about that rod inside the water heater, though?
No, sir.
Let me see. Water. Oh, that's different water issues. Yeah, so the that rod inside the water heater is actually used to rot away instead. It's meant to rot away. And yeah, most people never heard of it except for plumbers, you know, and a lot of plumbers don't even replace it because that thing gets so tight and seized in there because nobody ever messes with it. Let me see. Okay, so I got one here. Age of water here. Okay, this old house. It's answered. Water heater age. Pros and cons of tankless water heater. When should I replace the water heater? 2 easy ways to flush and drain, and 30 major secrets. Okay, so I got this one here. That also explains how to maintain it.
I just barely discovered something absolutely fascinating that almost nobody seems to know about, and that's with the water heater here. This little yellow sticker that most of us ignore, if you peel this up and look at the back of it, it actually has a pre-programmed death date or expiration date for your water heater. It's crazy, so I started calling my friends and said, look at yours, peel that thing up and see what the expiration date on yours is. And for all of us, it was actually the same thing. It was 3 a.m. on a Friday night over the Christmas break while all of your family is staying at your house. That's when it's gonna die. Now, I am kidding about the little expiration date on here. That doesn't exist, that's not a real thing. But don't you agree that the water heaters only go out at the worst times? It's always in the middle of winter. It's always when things are just, you know, there's a million things going on. And it doesn't die a quiet death. It's going to leak under your floors. It's going to ruin some carpet and some drywall and some baseboards and anything else that it can get to and spray all over the place. The fact is, most water heaters are going to last between 8 and 12 years.
If it doesn't explode. I mean, literally explode. I had a fire in my house one time. My water heater exploded because the water heater is maybe about 3 or 4 feet away from the washer and dryer. And next to the dryer, we had or next to the washer, we had the detergent. We used to keep the powdered detergent years ago. We used to use, and powdered detergent, if it's near heat, just like any powder, it could explode. So when the water heater blew up, it actually ignited the soap, and soap can explode. It's like a bomb, you know, and it actually had big flames in the basement. You know, I had to kick out the windows, try putting a hose on it, while we waited for the fire department to come, and they totally destroyed the house, coming with the hoses through it and all. Yeah, so it could actually be a lot worse than just a little water damage if it actually does explode.
It's not a very long lifespan to have that big mess that's going to be on your hands. And in fact, we're going to do a giveaway down in the comment section below. I want to hear your stories for when your water heater went out at the wing is that you should be
So he talks about flushing in this one video. This guy talks about the flushing like that other guy did. Here, let me let this commercial play through. Let me just stop the video while the commercial's playing here. And then I can skip it. All right. And so he actually walks you through here the the flushing. You could use a hose like this, not like the other guy going outside with it above ground and all.
Every 6 to 12 months. That's the manufacturer's recommendation, and probably nobody does that. And really, I can't blame you. I don't do it myself. I think almost nobody actually flushes their water heater every 6 to 12 months. A lot of people don't know that you're even supposed to. Now, the second thing has to do with the anode rod. When I asked my viewers in a community poll, I was not surprised by the answers I got as to how often do you change your anode rod.
This is the rod that I was talking about that's meant to rot. It's called an anode rod.
Number one response, what the heck is an anode rod? That sounds kind of weird, and maybe it is. So this is something that most people don't ever change because they don't know what it is. That's the majority of people, so you're definitely not alone if you're not even familiar with an anode rod. Now, 31% said, I know what it is, I just don't ever touch it. And that's most people who know what an anode rod is. Then we'd get down to 4% that said, I change it every 5 to 10 years maybe, so that's a very small number. And then the elite, the elect, the chosen few, 7% of you. Now granted, this is a subset. This is 7% of people who are already somewhat familiar with DIY, who are subscribed to my channel. Those of you who said, I actually do change it every 3 to 5 years. I would guess that on average across the United States at least, maybe Canada as well, we probably get 1 or 2% of people that actually change it on a regular basis, realistically. Kind of mind-blowing, but really it's the biggest factor that will determine how long your water heater is going to last before you have one of those magnificent blowouts. Most anode rods fall into one of two categories. There are multiple, but two are by far and large the most popular. And the first one is a magnesium alloy anode rod, and the second one is an aluminum alloy anode rod. Now, your water heater will typically come with the magnesium rod. That's what came in the water heater that I've got, and most likely in the one that you have as well. Now, there are some pretty huge differences between these, but they both have a lot of similarities as well. The magnesium one is going to be a lot less expensive, but it's also going to get eaten up faster. The whole process or job that this thing has is to be a sacrificial anode rod. Its job is to get eaten away, to be deteriorated by the water that's coming into your water supply, so that the water is not attacking your water heater itself, because that's what will eventually cause its demise. Now, to give you an example of this, I actually did a water heater replacement at my buddy's house, and take a look at what happened afterward when we opened up his old water heater to see the status of the anode rod. Keep in mind, it started out looking like this, nice and thick. This is about 1 inch thick, and then it ended up with absolutely nothing left, right down to the steel rod that supports all of the alloy around it. Pretty bad. Once your sacrificial anode rod has been eaten up, there's really nothing for the water to attack at that point except for the water heater itself, and that's what's going to cause it to fail. Now, the aluminum anode rods, they have their own set of benefits. These ones are a little bit better at getting rid of that sulfur smell, and that's the rotten egg smell that you sometimes get in your water, but it's still not going to attack it all the way. It's just going to help. The other thing with aluminum is they do tend to last a bit longer, but they also tend to be more expensive. Every once in a while, I kind of get to be the hero in these videos because I find really cool products that I get to introduce to people, and I think most people don't know about this option. I know I didn't, and I've done a lot of work with water heaters in the past. So this is the thing you clicked on from the thumbnail, right? This funny looking little thing is an anode rod, but not just any anode rod. This is a powered anode rod by a company called Coroprotec. Now, they reached out to me, and again, full disclosure, this is a sponsored video, but I'm happy to put this out there because this is such a cool product. If you look at the box here, there's a few things you're gonna notice. Number one, it says it eliminates the sulfur smell. This doesn't just reduce that rotten egg smell, it gets rid of it. Number two, stops corrosion. That lime scale buildup that you get at the bottom of the tank, that's why it actually needs flushing on a regular basis. This gets rid of it. This is basically your one-stop fix for dealing with maintenance on your water heater. And the best part, 20-year warranty. That's insane. Basically, if you can put this thing in your water heater, then you just bought yourself 20 years of not having to deal with your water heater. And I think that is an absolute win. So
Jonathan, you just got a brand new water heater, right? You may want to replace it with one of these. You could extend that life out to 20 years guaranteed by this company.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into it because I got to see what is the power source that has to be connected direct to.
It's a low electric power source, so you could run a wire there. It's a low electric power source, and don't forget about flushing. You have to flush those water heaters too. But isn't it? These videos are pretty interesting stuff here. Look, even if you guys don't go into the real estate industry, I'm showing you how to save stuff in your house. How to save your water heaters from those disasters. How many of you are going to end up going and flushing your water heater this week sometime, or by this weekend, just to get that nasty stuff out or to see if it's in there. This is useful stuff.
The reason this little guy works is because it's a powered anode rod. It uses electricity, and by the way, a teeny tiny amount of electricity to do the work that these regular aluminum and magnesium anode rods just can't get done. This thing actually costs about $2.80 a year to power, so that's less than $0.25 a month, and it just doesn't need to be touched once you've got it installed. So the best part is you can actually take this thing and install it in your existing water heater. You don't need to get a new water heater to do this. You can just take the old one out, and I'll give you some tips on how to do that, and drop this one in, plug it in, and you're good to go. At that point, really the only thing you need to do is make sure the green LED light is on the power supply. And for whatever reason, the green LED light, it is not subtle. There are literally no lights on in this room. It's just this one little green LED. So yeah, I think you'll know if it's on and if it's working. So cost, you're probably wondering about cost. I know I was. These guys, the regular anode rods, typically I found some for as cheap as 30 bucks at Home Depot or on Amazon. And most of the time they're in the 40 to 60 or $70 range.
I'm going to give you a little tip. There's those anode rods he's showing at Home Depot. Where's that first one that he shows? This one. This is a solid rod. There's no way you're going to install that unless you have super high ceilings in your basement, because it's a bolt at the top of the water heater, and when you unbolt it, first of all, release the pressure from it before you go bolting this in the tank. Open up the water, drain it, shut off the water supply. Then you got to break this free, excuse me, unbolt it, and then it's got to come out the top. And then the new one got to go in the top. This one, unless you have a lot of distance there, there's no way you're going to get that in. Unless you totally disconnect the water heater, lay it on its side, to get it in. However, the very next one that
on Amazon, and most of the time they're in the 40 to 60 or $70 range.
You see it has thinner areas. You could bend it so that it then gets fed in. So this one is actually a better rod,
depending on what kind you get and the brand and that sort of thing. So they're not that expensive. They just are a real pain to maintain. Now, as far as the Coral Protect, that one is definitely more, but it's a one and done sort of deal. So the Coral Protect here costs $160, and this is for the 40 to 89 gallon range, which is going to be most houses in the United States. And put this thing in, 20 years, and you're good. In my opinion, 100% worth it to not have to deal with it. I know that when I put the...
All right, let's see if he, instead of watching this whole video here, let's try to fast forward through some of these things. So how the heck do you get this bolt off?
Once it starts to strip, it's more likely to keep stripping, and that's bad news and will cause a lot of the issues that we're seeing here. I'll put a link in the description for one that I recommend that's got good reviews and has held up well. This is a 6-sided socket, and they only cost about 13 bucks. Tip number 2 is avoid spinning. That's one of the biggest issues with anode rod. When you're trying to remove it, it just spins the entire tank. That could spin your water lines, that could spin your flue, and that could spin anything else that's attached to it as far as gas lines or electrical. So In order to secure that and make sure it doesn't spin, I recommend using some tie-down straps. Now, if you live in an area like me, I live in Utah, and we have tie-down straps built into the house by code. They have to. They're earthquake straps. So we can use those to hold everything in place. But if you don't have that, which a lot of you won't, then just use some tie-down straps that you find for trucks typically, and then you can actually prop it up against, like the actual buckle of the tie-down strap up against the wall. Make sure to put some protection on there so it doesn't scuff it up, and then that will keep everything from twisting on you while you're trying to loosen that stubborn anode rod. Once you've got that 6-sided socket and you've secured your water heater in place to make sure it doesn't spin anymore, you're ready to actually replace the anode rod. Until the water starts flowing freely. Get, like I say, $57 on Amazon, so I'll put links to that in the description below, but this one worked perfectly for me, especially with this newer one that I was replacing. And you've got...
What is an SOP? So here's a
I'll stop that. We watched enough of that, but here, I'll share this video with you guys. I'll put the link there in the chat window, share it with you so you guys can see about the anode rod and flushing and all that stuff in one video right there. I just shared that video with you, and it looks like we're already at lunchtime. So when we come back, we're not going to watch this video. We're going to get back to the slideshow and finish up this chapter and then go on to the next one. So here, let me put out the before. Well, let's do a beginning of class attendance poll first, and then we'll. Okay, how do we price the property when we get a listing? Well, we do a CMA, right? We don't do appraisals because we're not licensed appraisers. And we do them complimentary for free for the consumer. That's how we help educate the owner of the property to let them know how much their home is worth by doing these CMAs. And I told you guys a great resource where you can learn how to do CMAs is by taking the class from Ottawa. It's less than $100. It's tax deductible. It's a business write-off. Hopefully your brokers can give you continuous training, but you should at least take that class. I try to take it whenever possible. Every year, if possible, I would take it. It's a good course to take. You learn new stuff. You get updated on the current things that are going on in the marketplace, etc. And let's see. So CMAs is the comparative market analysis. That's how we do the. That's how we do our valuations for the consumer, for the buyer, as well as the seller. Not just when pricing the home for the seller to determine the listing price. We should do CMAs for buyers before we make offers. Don't just ask them, hey, you want to make a full price offer? You know, make sure that the value's there, see if what it's worth. BPOs are broker price opinions, and their valuations that are a little more math involved for them. And we do them for lenders in exchange for a fee. They pay us for that. But that payment should go through your broker, or you should discuss it with your broker that you can get paid directly. If that's the case, get it in writing. Because we have to be paid through our brokers, recall. So CMAs are complimentary for free. It's not an appraiser and should not be considered as such an appraisal. CMA workshop class taught by Ottawa. Like I said, it's less than $100. The actual selling price, however, is determined between the owner and the buyer. So it is the market that determines the value, whatever value of offer that a ready, willing, and able buyer is willing to make, and their bank is willing to fund. So it's whatever price that they can afford to pay, and that's usually determined by the loan, unless they're buying all cash. Otherwise, the lender will not lend them money if the home is not worth it. So they get appraisals done, we get CMAs done, and the market value is based on recent sales of similar properties that have recently sold that are similar in size, style, location, condition, amenity to the subject property. By the way, remember I told you guys New Jersey's becoming that movie, the new Hollywood? We got the whole Netflix studio that Netflix bought that military base and turning it into a studio. I just found out yesterday, right after class on the news, I heard that there's another, oh geez, I forget which one it was, but there's another movie studio that's going to be building a studio here in New Jersey as well. So they're all starting to flock over to here. All right. If I get that, I'll post it on our Facebook. I know I recorded it. I set it record on my DVD. I just got to record it on my cell and then transfer it to the to the online here. So, okay. So how do we price the property? Well, remember, it's ultimately the seller who must determine the listing price. We are there to educate our clients to make sure they don't overprice it. Otherwise, it won't sell. If you don't get written offers on a property in the first couple of weeks of listing it, it's probably overpriced. So tell the owner, hey, if we don't get any written offers in the first month, we'll probably need to lower that asking price, probably by about 5 to 10%. So a broker or salesperson can help the seller determine a listing price for the property through doing a comparative market analysis, a CMA. Now, in those CMAs, we list a lot of information that's not in appraisals. Like we show them properties that fail to sell. We show them properties that are on the market, under contract, those that expired, those that, the ones that expired and failed to sell. We show things like days on market, how long the property was advertised for, so the advertised days on market as well. And remember, CMA must never be called an appraisal because we're not licensed appraisers. So as a matter of fact, on the bottom of every page of a CMA, not in fine print, but in the same font size as the rest of the words in the document, we should have a disclosure that says that the CMA is not an appraisal and should not be the equivalent of one that is prepared by a licensed or certified New Jersey appraiser. So the broker should convey to the seller the fact that the eventual selling price, however, is set by the buying public through the operation of supply and demand. So among factors that should not determine the listing price are the seller's original costs, assessed values by taxman, or replacement costs, and the amount that the seller needs to realize from the property because I needs to get so much money for whatever it is, fill in the blank. Buyers don't care how much he needs to get. They care about what the current value is, right? So when we do CMAs, we often include these things in educating the sellers. We show them the active listings on the market, not to show you what the price is that they're asking, just to show you what the competition is out there. How many homes are on the market? We don't show it to them to look at the asking price, and you should tell them that. The under contract ones are the ones where buyers made offers that sellers accepted. We're not going to know what those offer prices are. And if you call up the listing agent, they're not going to tell you. They can't disclose that. So why do we show under contracts? Well, just to show the activity of how many buyers are out there making offers that sellers are finding acceptable. The solds are the ones we look at to see the price. That's how we determine how much your home should be valued. Recently sold homes similar to yours in size, style, location, condition, amenity, that have recently sold. And we make adjustments for the differences in those properties and to determine a more accurate value based on the selling price of other similar homes that have recently sold. So why do we show them expired listings? Well, because we don't want them to end up there. So we're going to show you the expired listings to show you what failed to sell so that you don't end up there, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. We're going to talk to you direct and let you know that. So let's take a look. It could be the seller's fault. Maybe it's the agent's fault, or perhaps nobody's fault. Just the market conditions, perhaps. Take a look at the pictures. Were there any? Did the agent take any pictures? Did they have them professionally made, or did they take the pictures? I mean, most of our cell phones these days got high quality cameras that you could even take a good picture on your cell phone. But make sure that if you do that, make sure that you are taking a picture when the sun is to your back, not when it's behind the house and you snap a photo, because then that color picture becomes black and white. Are you going for that nostalgic look or something? Don't take the pictures on garbage day when the whole line of garbage cans are out in front of the house. Come on, you're salespeople. Learn to sell it. You know, you don't take pictures of a product we're trying to sell for a high price with garbage in front of it, right? Come on. Think about what you're doing for a second. You got to sell it, okay? Not just puffing in your ads where you talk it up, give your opinion as salesmanship, but also when taking these pictures, they should be a decent quality. Now, be careful. Don't go editing pictures. Don't go editing out phone lines or telephone poles or things like that. You could end up in a lawsuit from somebody because you altered what it really was and misrepresented what it really was. It's one thing to adjust the hues and stuff to make the colors look more accurate, you know, and make the sky look pretty. It's completely different when you're like removing obstacles like telephone poles and things that are actually there. All right. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right. So take a look at the pictures, the quality of them. Should you have a lot of pictures at every angle of the house and do virtual tours showing you every corner of the house?
Yeah. I mean, it helps.
Yeah. Agents love it. Because those tools are there and it's fantastic. It shows how great you are. Come on, you're salespeople. Do not show them everything. Your job is to tease them, to get them to come see the house. If you show them every angle online, they're never going to call you. They're going to make a decision before, just based off of what they see, because they've seen the whole house. So what do they need to go see there in person? Tease them. If you do a virtual tour, just show like some things. Don't show every inch of the square inch of the house. That's where it could backfire on you a bit. You know, take some nice artsy fartsy pictures of look at the shelf on the wall and the beautiful decorations. You know, I mean, those decorations are probably not going with the house, but you're doing it to stage it, even in your photos. Right? You're trying to tease them. Give them a nice picture of a room or the yard and leave them wanting more. So if they look at this and they're saying to themselves, oh, I wish there were more pictures. That's the perfect amount of pictures. Because now the only way for them to see the rest is they're going to have to set up an appointment with you to see it. Okay. I understand the urge there, since we got all these tools at our disposal to show them every inch and every angle, you know, even with the remote control helicopters, the drones, take the aerial photography. Sure, that's pretty, you know, that's actually not a bad idea to do, but every single angle within the house, my advice would be not to do it. You know, take a couple of artsy fartsy photos that are teasing them enough to get them to want to call you to set up that appointment, get them in the door, because you ain't selling nothing online. Nobody's going to be buying a house online. Okay. This ain't Carvana. All right. How much commission is being offered to be shared, if any? Can that have an impact on how many people come see the house? How many agents want to show their clients this listing? Sure. Because you could get a lot of clients out there that they only want to see properties where the seller's paying the commission, because that's a lot of extra money that they need in order to shell out in order to buy a house. Was the property accurately priced, or did they try it just a little bit higher? All those things can have an effect on if that listing is going to expire or not. We show the days on market to show how long the seller gave us the listing for. Maybe they didn't give us a long enough time to try to sell it. So why do we also show advertised days on market? Well, sometimes they give us a listing, but then we put out there maybe delayed showings and such, and it wasn't actually advertised for a long enough period. Oh, always have at least a
So
minimum.
who gets to list how many days advertised?
Sorry?
Who gets to list, like, how do they determine that? They, because that's something I know people consider, like days, how many days listed, but also days advertised. Is it, what, I guess, what determines the start of that? And who, what
Did you have
triggers that?
do you have delayed showings? Do you have, are you putting the property on the market, but it's not actually available to show yet? You have
Absolutely, all that's possible. That's what I'm saying though. Who do we enter that information? Like how many days advertised?
Well, no, the MLS automatically tags that.
I see. Okay.
Because you get the listing, you put the listing date in there, and then when do you want that property to be available? Then it starts counting that from there.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
You should always have a minimum of at least 3 comparable properties when trying to determine the value of a property. So how do we overcome some of the seller's objections when we talk about the price that we suggest? When they tell us, but I needs to get so much money for my house so that I could put down money on buying the next house and moving the family and getting a big screen TV and this and that and the other thing. Okay, well, buyers don't care. Right? If you're a buyer, do you care how much money the seller needs to get? No. You care about what the value is and if you're getting a deal or not, right? But I could have gotten so much for the property if I sold it last year. Well, then you should have sold it last year. But the current market conditions don't justify that price, perhaps. And if that's the case, you need to be straightforward with your clients and tell them that straight up. Don't be around the bush. Don't be shy, right? But I put so much money into the house and I did all these improvements and it cost me this much. Well, not all improvements will pay back 100%, and not all will increase the value. So not all improvements will increase the value enough to recoup all those costs. But the house down the street sold for this much. Yeah, it's also newer and bigger. It has more amenities. It's in better condition. Are we comparing apples to apples here? Let's make sure that we're comparing the same thing. Okay. You could always justify the rationale. If it is the same and it just sold and you weren't aware of it, well, then let's compare it. Well, let's just try selling it, listing it for a little bit at a higher price, just at the beginning. I know you said it's only worth this much, but let's try listing it for a little higher price just for a little while to see if we get any showings. Well, the first week of a listing are the most critical, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, and during this introductory period of your property to the market. And listings can get stale if you overprice them, and the longer that it's on the market, buyers are going to start asking questions to themselves. They're going to say, what's wrong with it? Right? I mean, if a property seems like it's so great, and if it's priced right, and it's been on the market for a long time, they're going to be saying, what's wrong with it? So your first price reduction is probably more than the entire commission that we are charging the owner to sell their overpriced house, right? Don't get caught in chasing the market either. Anybody know what that is, chasing the market? So when you chase the market, that means that you overpriced it at the beginning. Here, let me give you a better view of me here. So you list, the market value is here and you priced it here. Just wanted to try it a little higher price, right? And so you told the seller, yeah, but they should list it here or here even, but they listed it up here at this price, right? Overpriced. And then the market values are dropping. And then the owner finally decides, you know what, I'll take your advice and I'll drop the price. They're still overpriced though. This is chasing the market. When you have a declining market and the owner keeps, I want to try it a little higher. and then you're trying to get them to lower the price to what it should be, and then the market price drops, and then they finally decide to lower it to what you suggested, and now it's still overpriced because they're chasing the market. Too little, too late. The only way for them to be able to sell that house is to make a dramatic price drop to get ahead of the market. You see how you could explain that to people too with your hands the way I'm doing it? You don't need big fancy presentations either. So don't get caught chasing the market by overpricing a property in the beginning, or you may end up losing a lot more than anticipated, especially in a declining market, let alone a stable one. Here's a very important question. It sounds like a stupid question, but it is not, I assure you. When the seller agrees upon an asking price with you, if they agree to list it upon with the price that you suggested, ask the owner a question. Say, all right, now we agreed on an asking price. If I get a full price offer the first day or even the first week, what are you going to do? Are you willing to accept that offer? What are you going to do? Because Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I've had a lot of people that I've listed the property. They've listed the property at my suggested asking price, and we priced it right at a time where a buyer was looking for a home just like yours in this area in that price range. And they came in, they put an offer in, and we got the offer. We struck while the iron was hot, so to speak, and we listed the property at the right price at the right time, and all the stars were in alignment for you. And then we got a written offer. And then you decided to look that gift horse in the mouth and say, nah, it's too quick. I don't think we asked enough. I think we should ask for more and give them a counter offer other than the full price.
Can they do that? Oh, I guess they can.
Do whatever they want. It's not advised.
Yeah, I was just thinking about like a pricing war. So yeah, they absolutely could. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, I've had this situation happen. That's why I say it seems like a stupid question to ask, but it's actually not. Wait till the first time it happens to you, and you're going to be like, these dumb mother. You know? But the thing is, you priced it right. They heeded your advice and they agreed to price it at that. All the stars were in alignment. You had a buyer that was looking for a home that meets those same requirements in this area at the same time that they listed it at that right price. And they made a full price offer, and then they reject it because they think, oh, that's too quick. I could get more money. I think we underpriced it. And they start getting greedy. That could create a problem. I've had this situation happen before, and then they countered with a higher asking price, and the seller was like, "No, later, we're out of here. We made you a full offer price, and now you're countering at a higher. Get the hell out of here!" And they move on. And then the seller wanted us to adjust the asking price now in the MLS to be that higher asking price because the other one came in so quick, and they never got a single offer for the rest of the year because it was a year-long listing, as this one example at the top of my head. You know, they got an offer the first week, full price. They looked the gift horse in the mouth, and that listing was a year long, and we did not get another single offer in writing that whole year. Don't blame me. I got you an offer the first week, right? If you slap them with that reality up front, say, listen, there's nothing that I can't guarantee that you're going to get an offer the first day or the first week even. But if we price it right, we should. And if that offer does come in, I just want to prepare you to accept it. Don't look the gift horse in the mouth. I mean, I can't guarantee it's going to happen, but I need to prepare you for that possibility. Okay. And that concludes this chapter. Chapter 10 is done. So let's do the key terms to review for chapter 10. I think there's only a couple of questions here. Couple of key terms. So it's on page 191. Organization of brokers who work to sell each other's listings.
Multiple listing service, MLS.
Yes, 4A. Price comparison for sellers when listing.
Comparative market analysis.
The CMA, the comparative market analysis, the pricing analysis. Call it whatever you want, just don't call it a appraisal.
Appraisal.
So 1 is B. Listing given to any number of brokers. Only the selling broker, however, is paid.
No.
It's the unacceptable listing.
Yeah, exactly.
And which one is that?
Open listing.
Open listing.
The open listing, 6 is C. A listing that promises the broker will be paid unless the owners find their own buyer and sell it on their own.
Exclusive agency listing.
Yes, the exclusive agency listing. 2 is D. A listing that states that the broker will be paid no matter who sells the property, no matter who brings the buyer.
Exclusive right to sell and listing.
Yep. 3 is E, the exclusive right to sell listing. And an illegal listing where the broker keeps everything above a certain figure. The net listing. Yes. 5 is F, the net listing. That is correct. And that concludes chapter 10.